to Montgomery at the 11. The 25 and hit at the 28-yard line. So it's a veteran, solid Super Bowl team, the Raiders, that take the offensive scrimmage line initially. Jim Plunkett, the quarterback. Kenny King and the Super Bowl hero Marcus Allen at running back. The veteran Cliff Branch approaching 500 catches. Malcolm Barnwell at wide receiver, and Todd Christensen, who just rejoined his teammates this week in the starting lineup. The offensive line, only one change. Davis, Hanna, Dalby Mosbar has replaced Marvin at right guard. Henry Lawrence playing with a heavy heart. His father passed away on Friday night. He'll leave here and go on to that funeral in Florida. First play from the 28-yard line. Marcus Allen cutting back and picking up nearly 8 yards. Marcus Allen, who will ever forget that brilliant cutback reverse run in the Super Bowl that broke it wide open for the Raiders. Defensively, this young Oiler team, Jerome Foster, Brian Sosha. He'll be married tomorrow, Will Sosha. Jesse Baker, the best pass rusher. 4 linebackers, Avon Riley, Greg Bingham, the veteran, Robert Abraham, Robert Brazil, Steve Brown and Willie Tullis at the corners, and Bostic and Hartwig are the safeties. It's 2nd down and 3. Kenny King runs into trouble in the center of that Oiler defense. Brazil 52 and Abraham 56 collaborating on the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and a yard.
Oiler philosophy on defense, they want them swarming out there. Jerry Glanville will also have them moving all over the field. A very aggressive, very, well, risk-oriented defense. They're going to be doing a lot of dangerous things out there today.
Hugh Campbell, who led the Edmonton Eskimos to 5 consecutive Grey Cup championships in the Canadian Football League. Last year with the LA Express of the USFL, signed here in January to coach Houston. 3rd and short. Plunkett's first pass. Wide open is Cliff Branch. And Branch is at midfield before Willie Tullis can drag him down. A 13-yard gain. 1st down, Raiders.
Cliff Branch is still probably the most dangerous receivers that these Raiders have. And the reason for that is that he has not only great speed, but just an intuitive feel for getting to the open territory. They single covered him there. That's something you won't see much during the day. Branch took advantage of the opportunity.
And with it, his 475th career reception. 1st down at the Oiler 49, just underway in the Astrodome. Malcolm Barnwell in motion. Marcus Allen. 4 hard-earned yards into the teeth of that Oiler defense. I'd like to go back to your comment, Merlin, about Granville's philosophy defensively. When he was at Atlanta, they blitzed and blitzed. They'd bring 11 minutes sometimes, and he's going to bring that philosophy here to this Houston defense.
Well, he is. Hugh Campbell says that's the kind of defense I want to play, is pressure defense. I don't want to say bend but don't break and let's give them some yardage. Let's go after them. Let's force some mistakes. So the calls that are being made are very aggressive calls on defense. They just don't have quite enough horsepower to play the straight-up defense the Raiders would play.
Campbell trying to bring that winning tradition to Houston. 2nd down and 6. Plunkett over the middle. Brilliant catch in traffic. It appeared to be Branch again. Yes, there's 21. Branch with those amazing skills. A great leaper, blazing speed, and still at age 36 has such quick feet. 12 yards and a 1st down.
I talked to Jerry Glanville and I said, I can't believe that Branch is still running those great patterns, and he's getting old as a receiver. You'll see him here stretching out on his own, catching the ball in traffic right there, taking a couple of great shots. Glanville said, at Buffalo last year, I decided to single cover Branch. The next thing I knew, he was in the end zone. He said, that's the last of that.
They've tried to do that in the Super Bowl as well, and Branch has 3 touchdown catches to show for it. To Branch again, but too long. Now, as we approach this end of the Astrodome, let's comment on the field conditions while we're in the comfort of the Houston Dome. The baseball arrangement, of course, is still in vogue here as the Astros battle in the National League, and that is a very soft dirt area, part of the baseball diamond, and you can see we could conceivably have a field goal try from one of those patches, one of those dugouts for the bases.
If this is not the worst field in the NFL this time of year, it's certainly in contention.
From the opening kickoff, it's 2nd down for Plunkett, and he's going long again. Has Allen out there. It's caught at the 3-yard line, and a flag is down. It's against the Raiders, so they'll call it back. A 30-yard throw to Marcus Allen on that deep swing, but holding Raiders.
Raiders are a team heavily penalized over the past years, but a team that can overcome that.
Offense number 50, second down.
Veteran Dave Dalby, the center, with a hold that costs first and goal.
Number 50, of course, the center, Dave Dalby, working right there one-on-one. Just went out of your picture on the left-hand side, and you saw the nose tackle being stripped to the ground. A great catch by Marcus.
Wasn't that a
what
terrific
amazing
play.
concentration on the ball.
Like an outfielder breaking back to the wall and just peering back over his shoulder to make the play, but it doesn't count. Buffalo, the leading penalty team last year, Denver, Detroit, and then the Raiders were fourth, but in number of penalties, the Raiders were second to Buffalo. Second down 20 at the Houston 43. Draw play to Allen, and he's cut down in the backfield at the 47-yard line by Avon Riley, who played against Marcus Allen in college. Riley from UCLA, and of course the crosstown rival, the Southern California Trojans of Marcus Allen.
In this defensive philosophy, you very often see 8 men right up on the line. The thought is stop the run, force them to throw the ball deep. Greg Bingham there is on your right. The play is made by the penetration right there of number 53, Avon Riley. And it's Bingham who finally finishes the play on the outside with help from Riley, but that's excellent penetrating, forcing defense.
From the 48-yard line, third down and 25. Plunkett doing a great job to extricate, going long for Kenny King. Good job by Plunkett to get away from the rush, and the Oiler defense gets a hand.
A well-deserved hand, although they certainly benefited from the holding call on Dave Dalby. Plunkett angry at himself. The receiver was open, and he did not get the ball to him. But that's a good start for this Houston team.
Defense moving up, 10 men on the line of scrimmage with Carl Roaches back at the 11-yard line. Raymond Guy, 42.8 average last year. His career average, 42.9. If you can go into the Hall of Fame for your punting ability, Guy will be there. Aiming for the corner, and he's caught it outside the 10, still marking at the 17-yard line, so that'll disappoint Ray Guy.
Guy brought an extra shoe, or actually didn't bring it, had to call and have them send an extra shoe in case he has to kick off one of those dirt areas. He said, when I got out here, I realized if I had to kick there, I'd have to have a different shoe on my non-kicking foot. So they called Federal Express and said, get it out here in a hurry.
You hear the fans here saying, Moon, Warren Moon, the new quarterback for the Oilers. Earl Campbell. Chris Dressel is the H-back. He'll be that tight end in motion. Jamie Williams, the other tight end. Steve Bryant and Mike Holston, the speed outside. Moon's first snap in the National Football League. Why not give it to that man, Earl Campbell, and he plows for about 3. The offensive line for the Houston Oilers, and a little push and shove there. Tom Flores, coach of the Raiders, said yesterday, I really like what Houston's doing right here. They're all young, they're big, strong, they're all number 1 or number 2 draft picks. Salem, Munchak, Bruce Matthews has moved to center, Pat Howell, and the player of the year, lineman of the year last year at Nebraska, Dean Steinkuhler.
And that's a page right out of the Raider book. They have gone after the big lineman forever.
Into the eyes of Moon on 2nd and 7. Moon's first throw. Intercepted from over, goes right into the arms of number 81, Steve Bryant. Oh my! Lester Hayes thought he had 6 points the other way. It went out of Hayes' hands and took a Houston bounce to Bryant.
Dick, early in every game, you'll have big plays, you'll have turnovers, you'll have mistakes. So far, the Oilers have benefited from several of those, and right here, this is a touchdown. Lester Hayes has a touchdown. The ball in and out of his hands, and right into the hands of Bryant. That is a remarkable turnaround. Warren Moon breathing a sigh of relief, but has to lift the spirits of these Oilers players.
28-yard play when it could have been a touchdown the other way for the Raiders. First down at the Houston 48. Big Earl Campbell to the 46-yard line, and Campbell, Tyler Rose University of Texas, the #1 player picked back in the '78 draft. And going into this year, in 6 seasons, Campbell with 8,296 yards. That's 9th best all time. And last year, while the Oilers were suffering through a 2-14 year, nevertheless, here was Campbell getting his yards over 1,300, a well-kept secret. Second down, 4. The veteran Lyle Alzado. Let's check on that black jerseyed Super Bowl defense. There's only one change from the Super Bowl starters. Howie Long, Reggie Kinlaw, and Lyle Alzado in the front. Millen, Nelson, Martin. And the one change, Stanley Adams and Jeff Barnes are sharing the duties, left by All-Pro Ted Hendricks, left outside linebacker. Hayes and Haynes, perhaps the game's very best pair of cornerbacks, and Mike Davis and Van McElroy. McElroy, a Pro Bowler at safety.
And of course, a couple of substitutions there on the pass rush. Piquel and Townsend go in to make a 4-man line for them.
Moriarty has replaced Campbell behind Moon. 3rd down and 4. Shoots Holston on the far side. Mike Haynes on the cover. And here comes the punting team on for Houston. So neither team able to strike for a score on the opening possession. Now, looking at that scoreboard, Merlin, it appears to be the road team is an advantage on this first week of the new season. Kansas City winning on the road at Pittsburgh. New England has won at Buffalo. Miami has won at Washington. San Diego is going to be a winner at Minnesota. San Francisco has won at Detroit.
I think you got to be a little tougher to win on the road, but certainly that's how you get to a championship. You've got to win on the road.
And the Raiders, of course, favored to win here in Houston. Veteran John James, dying spiral. Not a very good angle for James as it goes out of bounds around the 20-yard line. Tom Flores, now established as the coach of the Raiders. You know, how long did everyone say, well, it's really Al Davis is the coach and Flores is a titular head with the team? That's not so.
No question about that, Dick. This man doesn't get the kind of credit he deserves. He is the coach of the Raiders. There's also no question about the input of Al Davis. But this man coaches the team. He makes the decisions, and he's made excellent decisions. Provides great continuity and stability for this Raider team.
2 Super Bowl championships under Flores, who was their very first quarterback 25 years ago. Marcus Allen to the 23-yard line. And with this Oiler defense not possessing the man-to-man strength and talent of the Raiders, they're going to have to gang up on defense.
Talk about a swarming defense. This man, number 54, Greg Bingham, in 10 of the last 11 years, the leading tackler here for the Houston team. And look how many players they have out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that is excellent defense, and that's the kind of thing they're going to have to do this year to play good defense.
Allen, a gain of 3, make it 4, 2nd and 6. Allen again, close to a first down at the 29-yard line. Again, drawing a crowd. 52, Robert Brazile from Jackson State, where he was a teammate of Walter Payton, the great Bears runner. Carter Hartwig also in on the tackle. 3rd down, less than a yard.
Dick, these black-shirted Raiders make no secret of their offensive philosophy. They put their big people up front. They go right after you, one-on-one, and they try and run in behind that strong line with the excellent running of a Marcus Allen, a Kenny King, or a Frank Hawkins.
Hawkins and Allen are back, and it's Allen. First down at the Raider 31-yard line. Brazile down at the bottom of that pile, and the Raiders with 5 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in the first quarter have another 4 downs. Miami has defeated the Redskins 35-17. Big win at Washington. San Diego, a final. Wallops Minnesota 42-13. Dan Fouts, a big day. 49ers in the final seconds, a field goal to win at Detroit. The Giants have won 28-27 against the Eagles. We'll give you the rest in a moment.
Big comeback by the Eagles. That was very one-sided at one time.
Going long for Branch. He was well covered. Willie Tullis 20. Carter Hartwig 36. Tullis thought he had a shot at the intercept.
He did have an excellent shot at that ball, but the Raider philosophy is very simple. They feel they've got to show the long ball early. They've got to show it to you several times in the game, whether or not it's complete. And what they're trying to do is stretch the field laterally. Branch going up here, actually almost a defensive back in that situation. Knew he wasn't going to get it, just made sure that Hartwig didn't get it.
Jim Plunkett, pass situation on 2nd and 10. He's 2 for 5 in this first quarter. Marcus Allen. Nothing on that right side. Number 24, Steve Brown, and 54, Greg Bingham on the stop, and a flag is down. New England has defeated Buffalo 21-17. Atlanta with a 5-point lead at New Orleans in the fourth quarter. That's always a struggle. Kansas City apparently will win at Pittsburgh 37-20 late in that game. The Bears roll against Tampa Bay 34-7 at Soldier Field. Final, Green Bay by a point edges St. Louis 24-23. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Astrodome in Houston. Welcome those of you who have seen the San Diego Chargers beat the Minnesota Vikings 42-13. Here we're late in the first quarter, less than 5 minutes remaining. Each team has had one possession, unable to score, and the Los Angeles Raiders, defending Super Bowl champions, have the ball at their own 32-yard line, 3rd down and 9. 6 defensive backs in for the Oilers. Frank Hawkins, Marcus Allen behind Jim Plunkett. Outside, over the head of Branch. She was covered man-to-man by Willie Tullis, and the Raiders will have to punt.
Raiders did an excellent job of picking up the blitz, but Plunkett finally spotting an open man, getting it out there. Unfortunately, a little too high to catch. Tullis did a good job of being in the way of that pass, forcing it to be thrown a little high.
Plunkett unhappy with himself. Raymond Guy comes in to punt. Roach is the only back for Houston at the 24-yard line. 10 men on the line of scrimmage. Beautiful kick by Raymond Guy. Roach is a fair catch at the 15-yard line. Racing downfield was Otis McKinney to cover for the Raiders. Hugh Campbell, 43 years of age, Washington State Cougar, graduated in '62. He was a 4th-round pick of the 49ers, elected to play in Canada, was a top receiver there, had 60 touchdown catches, coached at Whitworth, Washington, the NAIA, then the Edmonton Eskimos, where he won 81 games and lost only 22. He is a laid-back, quiet but strong leader.
He has a quiet intensity that's really rather remarkable.
From the 15, Earl Campbell. 9 yards for the 233-pound fullback.
Campbell, a question mark going into last week's last preseason game, had not been able to play because of problems after some postseason arthroscopic surgery. Came back last week, played well, and appears to be continuing on into this ball game. Rushing 4 times for 18 yards so far in the ball game.
Look at that average in 6 years. That's the best in NFL history for average. 2nd and 1. And Campbell straight ahead for the first down.
Dick, there's not much mystery on who's going to carry the ball if they're going to run it with the one-back system.
No score late in the first quarter in Houston. Let's go to New York.
All right, Dick, our Bob Trumpy tells us that the Cincinnati Bengals' #1 draft choice linebacker Ricky Hundley says he plans to sit out the season. No chance for an agreement. He's represented by tough negotiator Howard Slusher. Hundley played his college ball at Arizona, and the Wranglers hold his USFL rights. Interesting.
All right, Bob Costas. Well, the holdouts of Slusher has been a story every NFL season for quite a few. Moon going long. Incomplete to the rookie Eric Mullins. A sixth-round draft choice out of Stanford. He has tremendous speed, 4.39 in the 40. And it's an interesting story, Mullins. He was a Houston high school athlete. I'll give you the rest of that after we see him try to beat the veteran Lester Hayes.
They've decided they're going to test Lester a little bit deep with the speed of Mullins there. And you see him one-on-one. Lester allowed to reach out like that as long as he does not contact the receiver prior to the ball being touched. You see the kind of running ability he has.
Moon has to hurry the play. 10 seconds on the 30-second clock. 6 seconds. 2nd and 10 from the 26. 2 seconds. They just got it off, and it's Larry Moriarty, second year back from Notre Dame, with a short yard carry. Back to Mullins. Remember back, let's see, in 80 when the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Oilers in a very tough loss for the AFC Championship. They had 70,000 fans here in the Dome to welcome the Oilers back, the Love You Blue celebration and defeat. Mullins was a high school senior at the time, and he said, I was here. I was one of the 70,000. I went to Stanford, wants to be a doctor, already accepted at Baylor Medical School. He said, what luck. In the 6th round, I get picked by my team. And here he is. He's made this Houston Oiler club. Shotgun on 3rd and 9. Over the middle, Moriarty, 40, 50, and a first down at the 47 of the Raiders.
Moriarty reaching back to corral that football with one hand. He's covered one-on-one by Van McElroy. And McElroy said something interesting before the game. He said, you can't give the receivers any room. I'll take it back. It's McElroy coming in to make the stop. Rod Martin is the guy that really was covering one-on-one in this situation. Moon is getting lots of traffic there. In fact, on his way to the ground, had to hear the crowd to know the pass had been completed.
One-handed juggling catch by Moriarty. First down at the 48. And Campbell for 3, maybe 4. The Oilers' first invasion of Raider territory. We have a minute and a half remaining. No score first quarter.
The point that McElroy was making in regard to Moon is that Moon has such a quick release that you have to cover those receivers very tight, or he'll get them the ball. You won't have a chance to recover.
Well, the Oilers are hoping that Earl Campbell won't be the Houston offense, that Warren Moon's running ability and his strong arm will give them a more diversified and effective attack. Earl Campbell, 41-yard line. Reggie Kinlaw, one of the underrated players on this Super Bowl team for the Raiders. Kinlaw from Oklahoma, the nose guard, making the tackle short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down, about 2.5.
Dick, I was interested in what Tom Flores had to say about it. He watched the game last week. He watched specifically Warren Moon. And, you know, he's talking about the fire in Moon's eyes and the fact that he was in control and he wasn't bothered by the pressure, and talk about quick release. It was amazing how many things, how many judgments he'd made just by looking at the game last night.
There he is, a former Washington star. 3rd and 3. Oh, knocked down by 93. Greg Townsend, who, counting the Super Bowl statistics, was the leading sack man for the Raiders.
Along with Townsend, number 71, Piquel there in your picture. But let's watch Townsend. Comes in at that outside position in the pass rush. Howie Long moves inside. You see him going up using his hands. One of the reasons I think this team is physically stronger is because of the fact that players like Townsend have another year of experience under their belts.
John James, speaking of experience, this is his 13th year, now 35 years of age. Greg Pruitt, another wily veteran, back at the 10. And Pruitt with a fair catch, 12-yard line. 30-yard kick, but the Raiders, with their 3rd possession, will start deep in their own end.
Dick, as we had a chance to visit with the Raider players yesterday, it was interesting how nervous Al Davis was. Said he was really worried. One of the reasons that he was concerned is that Marcus Allen had a shoulder injury preseason, only had 17 snaps in preseason. And Allen himself worried about his conditioning, whether he was ready. And I think the big worry for both Flores and Al Davis, would the Raiders come into this game with a kind of a down attitude? Would this be a kind of game you would have have a hard time taking seriously.
Well, no score yet. 15 seconds left in the quarter. And Marcus Allen cut down at the 16-yard line. A gain of 4. Greg Bingham made the tackle, and then Brazil was there just in case. And the Oiler defense on the field, and Warren Moon chatting with his coaches on the sidelines as the gun sounds, and that is the end of the first quarter. A very fast first 15 minutes here in the Astrodome, and no score.
Warren Moon will be called a rookie. Is called a rookie. Certainly not a rookie in terms of play.
We welcome those of you that have seen the Kansas City Chiefs upset the Pittsburgh Steelers at Three River Stadium. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. We just completed the first quarter in the Astrodome. No score in Houston.
It's not just a question of burning rubber away from the traffic lights.
Ford consultant Jackie Stewart on turbocharging.
You can be driving along with tremendous economies. You put your foot down and the turbo kicks in. And here you get this surge of power like a large performance engine. Ford have done this very well.
Ford has 4 turbocharged cars: Mustang SVO, Thunderbird, EXP, Mustang GT. Have you driven the best built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Hitachi, a world leader in technology, presents Quality. Backed by the most aggressive research program in our history, you can see the quality in Hitachi color television, like cabinetry of fine wood products for the look and feel of elegance, signal tracker control for a truly superior color picture, and our 10-to-1 limited warranty, your assurance of reliability. That's quality. That's Hitachi, a world leader in technology.
It never fails. The one thing most people overlook about their cars is the belts. You see, after 4 years, they can go any time. And since today's belts don't show wear, even I can't always tell when just by looking. So if your car's over 4 years old, replace the belts. And tell them you want Gates. Now, they've been keeping engines cool for over 60 years, even longer than me. Remember, after 4 years, they can go any time.
Well, the first quarter almost dead even. The Oilers a plus yardage of 29. Each team owning the football about an equal amount. Marcus Allen has gained 23 yards for the Raiders, 27 yards rushing for Earl Campbell. No score. We open the second quarter, and Plunkett to throw. Marcus Allen. Oh, a couple of beautiful moves, and he's tripped up shy of the 25-yard line. That'll be a first down for the Raiders. High up in the press box here in the Astrodome, one of the owners, executive, managing general partner of the Raiders, Al Davis. He's watched this team grow. He joined them 3 years into their life. It all started back in 1960. He became a part of the picture in 63.
Became their head coach in 63, his quarterback in that team, Tom Flores. That's interesting. United again here.
First down from the 24. Plunkett, Christensen, unable to hang on as he took quite a jolt from Robert Abraham, North Carolina State linebacker in his second season. No score in Houston. Let's check elsewhere. Now to New York.
All right, Dick, you'll be tracking the progress of Warren Moon. It was a big day, though, for another quarterback. Phil Simms, 4 TD passes today for Simms, and the Giants win it by a score of 28-27 over the Philadelphia Eagles at the Meadowlands.
All right, Bill, and Dan Marino, of course, with 5 touchdown throws in the Miami win at Washington. Plunkett, 2nd and 10. Draw to Allen. 30, 35, and a first down at the 38-yard line for Marcus Allen. 13 yards for number 32, Allen. So many times we've commented he's close to O.J. Simpson. Wears the same number. They have the same kind of running style.
The thing that's remarkable about Marcus Allen is the fluidity. Look how easy it is for him to shift those gears. Feels the opening, sees them, great vision. Great running backs have great vision, and then they can take advantage of what they see. Marcus does it and makes it look almost effortless.
Allen, who's taking out his frustrations in the offseason on the piano. He's back to the keyboard. Well, it's some pretty victory music there out to the 45-yard line, a gain of about 7 more. Said when I was a youngster in San Diego, 8, 9 years old, I took piano lessons for a couple of years, and I thought I was a sissy. I wanted to be an athlete. Now he says that I've got things together. I bought myself a grand piano, and I'm going to learn how to play.
Coming off the field, one of the things he was concerned with, and I mentioned it a few moments ago, his conditioning. Only had 17 snaps during the preseason, and it's rather humid inside the Astrodome. He may be having a little fatigue problem.
That'll be close to a first down as Frank Hawkins in for Marcus Allen, that a Reno graduate. And Hawkins last year a major contributor to this offense. 526 yards he gained rushing, 4.8 average and 6 touchdowns. Well, there they are. Hawkins very quietly in support. That's the depth of this Raider club. And they just perhaps go down. When you go to the 49th man, you have a solid player that could be a starter somewhere else.
One of the interesting things that I picked up in a conversation with Al Davis, he said, I'd like to keep some strength in the wings. He said, we don't always have our best players on the field. What we try to do is put our best team on the field.
3rd down and inches. And in comes rookie Andy Parker, number 81, a second tight end for Tom Flores. This short yardage does not mean necessarily they're going to stay on the ground. Derek Jensen also comes in, and Marcus Allen returns to the lineup.
Raiders employing 3 tight ends in this situation, and Marcus back in there. Obviously, Derek Jensen will be at the wing. They'll have a tight end on the line on either side, and the wing will be number 31, Jensen.
Hawkins and Marcus Allen behind Plunkett. Near midfield, no score, 12:22 remaining, second quarter. Hawkins. What a charge, and then Hawkins on a second effort appeared to get the first down. But the Houston Oilers, Greg Bingham and Avon Riley met him right in the hole, and in fact, getting up slowly is Bingham.
Bingham right at the bottom of that stack. Jerry Glanville, the defensive coordinator, talks about swarming defense, gang tackling, and look how quickly Hawkins draws a crowd. Bingham getting bent over backwards and literally being hammered by all those teammates. Great second effort, as you mentioned, on that play by Hawkins. Oh, look at it. He crunched his face, but I'll tell you, he's tough enough. You have to tie him down to keep him off the field.
Bingham now in his 12th year. Played his college ball at Purdue, a native of Chicago. He owns some coin-operated car washes down here in Houston. They're going to have to put in some nickels for him and clean him up. Marcus Allen, a show of blood as well. It's a hard-hitting opener.
And this will be an emotional game, certainly, perhaps more so on the Houston side. They are looking forward to working under this new coaching regime, Hugh Campbell, and he's going to have to worry about keeping them down for this game because they are all pumped up.
First down for Hawkins at the 48. Going long and almost intercepted as Willie Tullis came over, laid off the ball, and almost took it right out of the midst of Cliff Branch.
And I believe you're looking at the Achilles heel of this Oiler defense right there. The amount of time that Plunkett had to throw that football. They do not have a pass rush. They don't have the opportunity of squeezing a quarterback. And of course, you're getting an opportunity to watch that ball. Isn't that pretty? Nice spiral thrown by Plunkett. Unfortunately, a little earlier, and Branch might have had a chance to get it ahead of the defender. Good defensive job of batting the ball away.
2nd and 10. That's Greg Pruitt with a flag down, and Pruitt is hammered by Bingham and Brown. And the flag back around Plunkett's feet, so we suspect it is holding against the Raiders. So Bingham, look at him. Boy, he's got the bridge of his nose cut.
I wonder if he put his arm around that referee if the penalty were on Houston. I don't know. They're getting the options now from the official. But, of course, that's the second time that the Raiders have been flagged for holding. Earlier, it cost them a chance to be down on the inside the 5-yard line when Marcus caught a pass in the game.
73, second down.
Penalty against 73 Charlie Hanna, the left guard. He and his brother John both now occupying starting positions at left guard. Of course, Hog Hanna, John over at the New England Patriots. Marcus Allen, apparently his cut up on the forehead.
Like they're working on him like they'd work on a fighter's eye, Dick.
Ball marked back to the 38-yard line. Over the head of Cliff Branch. He was well covered by Steve Brown, the left corner from Oregon.
Plunkett doing an excellent job of avoiding blitzing linebackers and linemen charging through. A lot of pressure on that play, and Plunkett able to get away and get the ball out of there, but not able to put it on target. Steve Brown, number 24, doing a good job on coverage. Now these Oiler corners, well, we'll look at them as they line up. It will remind you of a couple of other corners, at least in the way they press these receivers right up tight, working man to man.
Third down. Long. Jesse Baker. Who had only 31 sacks all last year, and they love it when it happens. It's like a rare jewel for them to come up with one of these.
Pressure right here has to be an encouraging sign for Jerry Glanville and this whole Oiler defense. That's the kind of thing they're going to have to do more and more of.
Mike Stensrud, along with Baker, with the sack. Now Raymond Guy to punt on 4th down and about 30. He hammers a beauty. Carl Roach is at the other end, back to the 22. And only returns for a couple. 52-yard punt by Raymond Guy. Otis McKinney with the tackle. A flag. An early release by one of the interior linemen for the Raiders. We'll see whether Houston asks Guy to do it again. One would guess they would, in that was a 52-yarder, and force Guy to kick from farther back and see if he can come up with another.
Certainly he has the power to do that, but I think you've got to look at his average and say we better have him try again, hoping that he may knock one off the side of his foot, or perhaps that you can get a return. Only a 2-yard return on that play, so the net was very much in favor of the Raiders on that situation.
Number 30, offense, illegally downfield, 4th down.
Stacy Turan, a rookie from Notre Dame. We have a lot of, there's Turan, a lot of high-scoring games in this first week of the season. The losing team scoring, well, New Orleans scored 28 in a loss to Atlanta. Pittsburgh had 27, still lost by 10 to Kansas City. But this one scoreless with 11 minutes remaining in the first half. And Guy now will punt from around his own 12-yard line. Roaches creeps up to about the 35. It's a beauty. And goes out of bounds at the 21-yard line. What a kick by Guy. And we've got a wrestling match back at the 40-yard line. And nothing serious there now. No, I guess continuing to push and shove. Well, Guy, after a 52-yard kick, all he did after a 5-yard penalty was nail 157. So the Oilers get it in the same place due to Guy's tremendous kicking talent. Well, that was one of those personal foul or unsportsmanlike conduct, both teams.
28 on the kicking team, 23 on a receiving team. They offset, unnecessary roughness. Third ball.
Jeff Donaldson engaged for the Oilers, and Otis McKinney for the Raiders. 10 minutes and 49 seconds remaining in the first half here in the Astrodome, where the Raiders and the Oilers are scoreless.
Chevy S10 is great.
Glad you like it.
And I love the price. 5990.
5990 with transistorized ignition.
Standard.
4-speed manual transmission.
Of course. Tough double wall construction.
And more legroom than any full-size regular cab pickup.
For 5990, it's one tough truck.
Smart guy.
Smart and tough.
That's today's Chevy truck.
Shotgun Rapids, Idaho, and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. The shotgun means white water at its best. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp, Old Milwaukee beer. And smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
And Old Milwaukee.
And Old Milwaukee Light.
Taste as great as their name.
You know, guys, it doesn't get any better than this.
Join Miss America Suzette Charles for the glamour and tradition when our country's best compete to see who will be chosen as the new Miss America. Let's all be there September 15th.
Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg. We're back at the Astrodome in Houston. The closest we have come to a score. Lester Hayes had a short touchdown on an interception, had the ball bobble through his fingertips, and it actually went for a completed pass for the Oilers. But Warren Moon, as he looks at Matt Millen, tough against the run, and two great cornerbacks staring at Moon in his debut in the National Football League. Rolling as he did in Canada, and finding the open man, Steve Bryant, number 81, and a first down at the Houston 38. So Moon is 3 for 5. 63 yards now for Moon.
Part of the strength of this great Raider defense in those two men right there, Lester Hayes, Mike Haynes, both with great one-on-one, man-to-man, hand-in-hand kind of coverage. But Warren Moon here beating that coverage with a fine throw. As you see him zipping the ball in, Bryant had cut back, and that's man-to-man on Hayes there that they made the completion.
Tim Smith in motion. Campbell cutting back to the 36-yard line. Now the Oilers will have second down when we return, but right now to New York.
All right, Dick, Warren Moon will get a test today from those guys on the corners, but in the Hoosier Dome, Curtis Dickey has scored the first touchdown for the Indianapolis Colts. Capped an impressive Colt drive, and it is now 7-0 Indianapolis over the Jets.
Yeah, Bill, I can imagine they're really bouncing in the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Second down and 7. Close to a first down, and a flag goes down.
Moriarty, a very, very big back, doing a good job of running there, but
unsportsmanlike conduct against the Oilers. Shouldn't be much
is
debate.
It the Oilers? Yes, it is. They're giving the options to the Raider captains here. Rod Martin, 53, the Raider captain, making the choice.
Illegal block, number 83, offense, second down.
Tim Smith, who caught 83 passes, more than any other wide receiver in the National Football League last year, but is not a starter this year. He's playing at that H-back, and he was the culprit. See it in this picture.
I believe it was back behind the play that could well have been that he was pushing in the back on that play, or going down low on a linebacker. Again, the NFL has made it mandatory that you don't chop those outside people down low on their legs.
Less than 10 minutes remaining in the half here in Houston. Still no score. Howie Long chasing Moon. Intercepted. 2 black jerseys over there. Jeff Barnes, 56, and making a dive, 23, Otis McKinney.
Howie Long, one of the quickest of the defensive linemen on this team, and you saw the quickness of Warren Moon on that play as he got to the outside. He'd like a little more room on this field, wouldn't he, Dick?
Well, he was used to that luxury of added yards. Well, there's his home field the last 6 years up in Edmonton. You can see the width of the field, considerably more room there, 11 plus yards. and even in the end zone, 15 more yards. We'll talk more about that later, but you look at that square footage, only over 4,000 more square feet in which to operate in the Canadian League, 110 yards longer. Moon with flags down, showing his strength to get away from initial contact. It was Alzado in there first to force him up in the cup, where Bill Pickell, 71, registered the sack.
Well, we've mentioned the size of that field.
Whoops, it's against the Raiders.
Well, that's interesting. Here's a little history for us, Dick.
We were up there during the strike 2 years ago. You see how he rolls to the left. By now he'd almost be out of bounds. Throws the ball. There's still all that room. The width of the field, and everyone has commented on, well, will Moon be able to adjust to the shorter distances, the width of the field? And it was interesting yesterday. Both he and Hugh Campbell said that's not the problem. It's when you get inside the 20 that's been the most difficult.
Well, the end zone, because that field does get smaller and smaller and smaller, and that has been difficult for Warren Moon and the Oilers to adjust to.
3rd down and 12. Incomplete intended for Steve Bryant over the middle. Moon not happy, had more time than he had figured after stepping up.
I got to think that he's just maybe a little bit too tight. He tried to, he said, look, I'm going to just approach this like a regular game, but with all of the hoopla and all the preparation and all of the, laying awake at night and thinking about this game, and you see the emotion there. He's an emotional young man on the field, very quiet off the field. Got to believe that maybe there's a little bit too much adrenaline pumping through his body right now.
Now the Raiders are going to get it. Pruitt back at the 30. James' kick is short. Pruitt at the 34. To the 39-yard line. Pruitt, who set a National Football League record last year for most yards in punt returns. He's still alive and kicking and contributing to this Super Bowl team. Timeout, 9:28 left, first half.
Skill, pride, know-how. We don't have to be the best, to build the best. At General Motors, it takes continuous training. Get the best people from the line. Give them the best tools, robots, computers. Teach them the new technology. They pass every test, so our new cars will pass yours. Nobody sweats the details like GM.
East Point, Maine and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. East Point means a New England clam bake, summer fun and food at its best. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth golden Old Milwaukee Light.
Old Milwaukee.
And Old Milwaukee Light.
Taste as great as their name.
You know, guys, it doesn't get any better than this.
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen at the Houston Astrodome. I want just to show you the differences. I've got a fairly good-sized hand. The difference in these two hands. Well, the point is that there's no rings on there.
The fingers are a little crooked on there, too.
Yeah, there's some bad-looking knuckles there. But this ring for the Los Angeles Raiders, a Super Bowl ring, it takes a hand like yours to wear it. I swear I'd have to put that on 3 fingers. It is big enough, that's for certain.
Well, the third time around, I guess they certainly felt, and justifiably so, they deserved a big ring.
The Raiders with the ball, no score. Second quarter, Plunkett trying to run at 40, and he steps out of bounds near midfield. Jim Plunkett, he was a little upset with you. You said last week something about his appearance.
Oh, well, he got after me yesterday. He said, my wife's got a bone to pick with you. He said, on the broadcast last week, you said I wasn't one of the better-looking quarterbacks in the NFL, and she said, well, Dick, I know that, but does Merlin have to tell everybody? I was talking about his appearance as a quarterback, the fact that he's sometimes awkward, but let me tell you, Plunkett ran extremely well, looked great on that play. He has shown us some real physical dexterity in getting away from the pass rush today and choosing to run on that play. I'm impressed. Jerry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything about your husband.
No, I'm sure the apology is received. He was kidding. He's going long, and Branch is open. Hit him in the shoulder pad. It appeared Branch had 6. Willie Tullis was his step behind.
That's the kind that Branch will replay a few times in his sleep. And of course, it will be replayed many times on the film because that ball should have and could have been caught. And Branch doesn't miss many that bounce into his hands that way.
Hit him right in the helmet, Merlin.
Certainly did. I think he just misjudged the ball. It could be that he's looking up into this backdrop. This is, one of the things about playing indoors. It changes the way you look at a football because you got a lot of things to look up into, lights and there's skylight up there. It's not an easy backdrop to catch a ball out of.
3rd and short, and Marcus Allen is toppled, and the Oilers say they've recovered a fumble. No signal yet from the officials.
Swarming and gang tackling. That's the emphasis on this defense. And let's look at the result. Marcus Allen taking the ball. He's trying to slide to the open turf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 white shirts stacking into him. And the question as to whether Marcus was able to get that yardage or not.
Greg Bingham, 54, the veteran inside linebacker, led the charge. Marcus watching, as is Bingham. The measurement, and it's short of the first down.
And Dick, who would have thought that the lowliest team in the league the past 2 seasons would come to this point in this ball game, shutting out the Raiders so far in a 0-0 ball game.
9 minutes and 10 seconds left in the half, and Hugh Campbell's young Oilers will get the ball. Roaches back inside the 10. Make that now Steve Brown. Brown has replaced Roaches, and Guy kicking as well as ever. There's Brown, second-year cornerback from Oregon. Jesse Baker, number 75, got in quickly on Guy. He may have had to alter his kicking delivery, and the Oilers are going to come up with good field position.
Well, how do you nullify the great weapons of the Raiders? You get some pressure on them. You try and take them out of their rhythm. But I think Guy was worried about the dirt, too. He was looking down at that field. Had an impact on his kick there.
Only 20 yards on the punt.
We had our show. I was a swan.
Really? Then you got a right to chicken done right.
I make it tender, juicy, every bite.
I make fresh, hot biscuits
and tasty, fresh coleslaw.
You got a right to chicken done right.
Nobody makes chicken like we do with the Colonel's secret blend of herbs and spices.
It's finger looking good.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
Sarah, do you get the feeling we're being followed?
They're coming over to Chevy Cavalier.
You better explain.
Well, some come to Cavalier for the comfort, some for the quality, and some for the fuel-injected fun of it.
But all these people.
Well, over 1,000 people, just like these folks, buy a new Cavalier every day. They've made Chevy Cavalier the best-selling car in America.
More than 1,000 people every day?
Well, Ken, everyone loves a winner.
Cavalier, it's the best-selling car in America.
That's today's Chevrolet.
Back in the Astrodome, baseball alignment, the sellout around 46,000 fans. Some of them have not used their tickets on a rainy Sunday afternoon on this Labor Day weekend. But Warren Moon trying to brighten things up for the Oilers. No score. 8:50 remaining in the first half. First down at the 31 after the 20-yard punt by Guy, and that play gets off rather poorly. While they untangle that scramble, let's remind you that today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, with the performance, the style, the innovation, the quality, and the value that make up today's Chevrolet. By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by Apple Computer.
Number 74. First down.
Oh, 5 yards marked off against the Oilers. First and 15 back at the 26.
Call it against the center, Bruce Matthews. Matthews must have twitched with that ball, started to move it. Of course, illegal for the center to do that. Illegal for any of those offensive men to lift up after they're down in position.
One back offense. That's Bryant in motion. Campbell behind Moon. Draw play, and Campbell runs into two black jerseys, 56 Barnes and 75 Long, and a flag is down.
Applaud about if you're an Oiler fan on that play, and on top of it, you got a penalty.
Now here with a loss to Campbell, I'm sure Matt Millen and Rod Martin will take the play.
Illegal formation, offense, penalty is declined, second down.
Yeah, I think Campbell has to be concerned at this point that you don't want to have those mistakes, but he certainly has got to be pleased so far with the score in this ball game, and basically certainly happy with his defense. Not as happy with the offensive performance, in particular of Moon. Moon a little bit shaky here in the early going.
Second down and 21. And short yardage from Moriarty as he plows off the right side. 6'1", 240-pounder. The fans didn't like that call. It used to be "Love You Blue," and then the last couple of years the Houston fans have "Love to Boo" because there had only been 3 wins in those 2 years. Updating the late games, the Colts leading the Jets 7-0 in the second quarter. Curtis Dickey on a 4-yard run, and it's 6-3 in a battle of field goals. Denver and Cincinnati. No, it was John Elway to Butch Johnson, 25-yard touchdown pass, but the extra point no good. Denver leading by 3. Moon, and he can't get away from Bill Peckel. 260-pounder from Rutgers, and despite Moon's elusiveness, Peckel was quick enough to stay with the quarterback.
Peckel coming from the inside in his defensive tackle position. You'll see him on a stunt all the way around the backside. Moon doing a Tarkington reverse roll, but it actually took Peckel to the outside. Now watch Peckel coming all the way around the other 2 defensive linemen at the outside, and he's actually knocked out into Moon. I think his momentum would have carried him by Moon, but he was pushed by the tackle, and that carried him right out into the path of the quarterback.
So minus 14 yards on the sack, and now James is going to have to punt from about his own goal line with Pruitt standing at midfield. It's a beautiful kick. Pruitt all the way back to his 36-yard line. 40. Now he's got some blockers, and down he goes at the 42. Moriarty made the tackle for Houston, and John James roots out a 52-yarder from his own goal line.
He's not known as a boomer. He got it in the air on that one.
With 7:26 remaining in the first half, still no score under the dome.
Crow Wing, Minnesota and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Crow Wing means Northern Pipe, big and mean, and Old Milwaukee means a great beer, cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer, and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light. It's a beauty.
And Old Milwaukee.
And Old Milwaukee Light.
Taste as great as their name.
You know, doesn't get any better than this.
Hello? When you're looking for some advice, the best person to ask is the store owner. Problem is,
Can anybody help me?
with many stores, the owner isn't a person, it's a corporation. Somewhere, far away. But a Service Star dealer doesn't just own the store, he runs it. So if you need a tool, some advice, anything, he's right there in the store, ready to help. Unlike some places.
Thank you for shopping. The store is now closed.
Service Star, we can help.
The NFL plays here, Denver.
Can the Bronco line protect the arm of John Elway as he leads Denver into venerable Soldier Field?
The NFL plays here, Chicago.
Walter Payton's quest for the all-time rushing record continues.
Denver battles the Bears. The NFL plays here.
My team plays here.
A reminder, next Sunday, another doubleheader Sunday here on NBC. The early games, Denver at Chicago. New England and Miami, both winners today. Buffalo, St. Louis, and Kansas City, Cincinnati. The late games will be up in Seattle for the Chargers and the Seahawks. Cleveland and the Rams, and the Colts play here against Houston. Plunkett to Todd Christensen. He's to the 45-yard line of Houston and a first down. Jesse Baker trailing the play, helped out Bingham on the tackle.
Todd Christensen, of course, just reporting back last Saturday, actually, the day before the game. They put him through double-day practices, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Of course, let him come back in. The Raiders aren't a punitive operation. They said, he's our starter, he's going to play, let's get him back in there. He's probably a little sore, he's probably not quite ready to play, but he is their tight end, and they want him in the ball game.
First down at the Houston 45 for Plunkett. Tipped in the air and almost caught by Christensen. A heady defensive effort by 36 Carter Hartwig, almost like a basketball player deflecting a pass as it was about to flop right into the arms of Christensen.
Fans watching on the television, or perhaps here, might say, well, that obviously was an interference call. Hartwig had bumped into Christensen before the ball arrived. But when the ball is batted, there are no interference calls downfield. And that was a good opportunity to see that rule in action as Todd Christensen indeed had a chance to catch that ball, but Hartwig did a good job of batting it away.
Not a good first half for Plunkett, only 4 of 13. Second down and 10. Wide open is Branch, but he slips at the 30-yard line. He had found an opening. Robert Brazil saying, "Can I help you up, sir?"
One of the interesting things about the Raiders, they don't worry nearly as much about those averages as a lot of teams do. Their concern is for one thing, getting points, getting the ball into the end zone. Something else that you saw on that play in regards to their passing game, the Raiders do not try and throw the ball just as the backs cut. They feel there are a lot of bad things that can happen. Back can fall down, the whole thing. They wait until the back is out of the cut. In that case, it didn't help. He fell down anyway.
He hit at the 39-yard line, short of the first down. But again, Plunkett showing his strength as he has throughout his collegiate and professional career. That first man doesn't always get him down. Carter Hartwig and Brian Sosha finally made the tackle of Plunkett.
We better get Jimmy to practice his safe slide. He's a little late going to the ground on this one. I'm sure he knew where the first down was, trying to get it. Probably should go down a little quicker as he gets pinchered in there between the two defenders and took a couple of good shots.
4th down and 3, and Ray Guy will try to aim one toward the corner. Good. That's going to be an excellent kick around the 5-yard line from this angle. Yeah, there it is, right at the 5. 32-yard punt, no return. The Oilers will begin deep in their own end. No score. 5:44 left in the half.
This is a highly sophisticated business computer, and to use it, all you have to do is learn this. This is Macintosh from Apple, also a highly sophisticated business computer, and to use it, all you have to do is learn this. Now, you decide which one is more sophisticated. Macintosh, the computer for the rest of us.
Do you have anything in aviation?
The Army's most technical training
Are there any openings in communications?
is also the Army's most popular training.
I'd really like computers.
So it pays to have a reservation.
Electronics.
If you qualify, you can get a guaranteed reservation for the training you want up to 12 months in advance, even if you're still in high school.
All that you can be.
We'll see you after graduation.
You can do it
great.
In the army.
Thank you. Congratulations.
The NFL plays here, San Diego.
Dan Fouts leads Air Coryell as he charges into the Kingdome.
The NFL plays here, Seattle.
Chuck Knox will be waiting, with Kurt Warner providing the muscle.
The Chargers battle Seattle. The NFL plays here.
My team plays here.
Number 1, Warren Moon and his young Houston offense huddling in the end zone. They spot the ball at the 6-yard line on Guy's well-angled punt. Dean Steinkuhler, number 70, the right tackle, the number 1 pick by the Oilers and the 2nd pick in the draft. And he's working against Howie Long, the all-pro end of the Raiders. And there's the fumble. And Earl Campbell falls on the loose ball. We were about to say there has not been a turnover in this game, and very nearly Campbell, a disastrous fumble deep in his own end.
Raider coaching staff showing a lot of respect for the way these Raiders have played. They're playing a tough, hard-nosed defense against them, but interesting, the Oilers just haven't been able to get on track. They just haven't been able to get anything going offensively. Their defense doing an excellent job, but offensively not getting anything moving.
Credit Campbell with a yard on the fumble. It's 2nd and 9. Moon. Was he inbounds? Yes. First down for Steve Bryant. 17-yard play.
That's the kind of thing that Warren Moon fans from Canada, from Washington, will remember about Moon. He is a very active quarterback. He throws extremely well on the run. And this is the toughest throw to make. Running against his strength. Running to the left and throwing with your right arm. Look how he has to get back and get it across. And yet, that's an absolutely perfect pass and an excellent catch.
Bryant, a third-year man from Purdue, has his third catch of this game. First down, and Lyle Alzado is in the backfield embracing Moon, and we'll see whether he was drawn offside. He says, yep, somebody moved. I've seen too much of that in my years, I know.
Harvey Salem, number 73, is the offensive tackle across from Alzado. And I think if I saw Alzado lining up on the other side and growling and panting, I might be a little eager to get back and try to block him on my own. Let's take a quick look at it. Chance, so this is the other side. This is Steinkuhler and Howie Long. But that's a pretty good stop there. And there's Alzado coming all the way across.
False start. Offensive left tackle. First down.
So the left tackle, Harvey Salem, on Alzado, moved prematurely. This is the other side of the line.
Steinkuhler, there was the move. They actually called it, I think, maybe on Steinkuhler on the other side, and was that move perhaps that initiated it? At least they may have seen that to get him started anyway.
There's the young man from Nebraska, 6'3" and 273 pounds. First down, 15. That's Tim Smith in motion. Moon to Campbell. And Campbell coming back this way to the 20-yard line. Well, they don't throw much to Earl Campbell. Not the greatest receiver among running backs in the National Football League. In fact, it's almost an inside joke here. He'll take punts just to see how many he can catch.
Where Kenny Stabler came here as a quarterback, Kenny said, I'm going to teach Earl how to catch the ball. He said, I know he's going to be a great receiver. I'm going to teach him how to catch the ball. After a while, he said, nope. Penalty on that last play.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the Raiders. Van McElroy, apparently. And that was after the play was over.
In the practice yesterday, Earl, I guess, when he was hurt, was catching punts in the training camp. And they had
unnecessary roughness, number 93, between the downs.
That's dead ball foul.
It's first down.
Not McElroy, but 93, Greg Townsend.
Greg Townsend, dead ball foul. Well, to finish the story, they would take bets. Robert Brazil was the bookie, and they would bet $1 that he wouldn't catch it, or $1 couldn't get anybody to bet he would catch him after a while.
Well, after watching him yesterday, you could see why.
There's Townsend on the sideline.
Costly mistake for the Raiders that allows Moon and the Oilers a first down out at the 35-yard line. Still no score. 4:22 left in the first half. Just a couple of yards for Campbell, and we have another skirmish down at the 45-yard line between Mike Holston, 84, and one of the Raider defensive backs, Hayes.
Lester Hayes. Looks like Holston trying to get up off the ground, and Lester Hayes, I believe, is going to be ticketed for a foul here. Looks like Holston was trying to get off the ground, and Lester wouldn't let him up. One of the reasons that Holston started this game is because he is a much more physical player than Tim Smith. And that might be the result of the little physical activity going on between those two.
Well, back-to-back 15-yard penalties. The personal fouls.
Unnecessary roughness, number 37. First down.
Well, the Raiders and their black jerseys and silver helmets, they've had the reputation through the years of being very physical, and sometimes it's costly. First down at the Raider 47-yard line. 60 yards in penalties for Los Angeles in this first half. Now, Moon has his team in L.A. 47. Going deep. Eric Mullins off his fingertips at the 5-yard line. Oh, that ball was there.
Right into the hands of the young Stanford grad, and indeed should have been a reception. Moon zips that ball. Look at that. That's a beautiful spiral. It absolutely thrown in a place that it should have been caught. And Mullins, I'm sure, regretting that he did not keep his hands on that football.
That's an interesting combination. Moon to Mullins. Moon Mullins. They may have fun with that before the year's
Mullins
over.
didn't even start at Stanford. They talk about that. They say this man is so talented as a receiver. We can't believe he wasn't a starter at Stanford.
2nd and 10 at the Raider 47. Quickie to the tight end, and it's Chris Dressel out of bounds with his first catch, a 7-yard play. It'll be 3rd and 3 at the Raider 40 when we return to the Astrodome. Right now, an update. Let's go to New York.
All right, Dick, we want to show you and Merlin what happened at Mile High Stadium. John Elway, who has already thrown 1 touchdown pass today, showing a presence he lacked last year. Steve Watson on the receiving end up the sideline. Short time later, Gene Lang scored. 13-3 Denver against a pretty good Bengal defense.
All right, Bill, an interesting point that Dressel was one of Elway's receivers at Stanford. He has just caught his first pass of the day here in Houston. It's 3rd down and 3 at the Raider 40. That's Dressel in motion. Moon going deep. And broken up nicely as Steve Bryant was the receiver at the 10-yard line. And Lester Hayes made the defensive play.
Lester Hayes, of course, ticketed a short while ago for some illegal activity. Man-to-man right here. He's driving. He's playing the man now. He's got to guess when that ball is going to arrive, and he timed it perfectly. You saw him watching the receiver and sensing when the receiver was reaching for that ball. Hayes went up and touched that ball and knocked it away. That's the reason that Hayes has been in the Pro Bowl so many times.
It's a personal milestone for John James, his 1,000th career punt. That's 2nd all-time in the National Football League. Jarrell Wilson, former Kansas City kicker, the all-timer. And the ball will be out of bounds, marked at the 12, 13, 14, 15-yard line. So the Raiders will begin at their 15-yard line. 4 minutes and a second left in the first half.
Going three-wheeling, it's my lucky day. Going three-wheeling, come on out and play.
Do you know why Honda makes 9 different kinds of easy-to-ride three-wheelers?
Going three-wheeling, got the Honda ATC.
So your family can have 100 different kinds of fun.
Going three-wheeling.
I tell you, playing polo is a lot tougher than it looks.
Sure is.
And even though the horses do the running, you still can work up the thirst.
So after a chucker or two, we equestrians drink light beer from Miller.
Yeah, light tastes great, and it's got 1/3 less calories than a regular beer.
And it's less filling.
And that's important, because tomorrow we're going to try our hand at water polo.
Yeah, I sure hope those horses can swim.
Me too.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
The Raiders and the Oilers and the Oakland Los Angeles Raiders lead the overall series 20-10. All 3 of their postseason meetings. But the very first game ever played in the American Football League, these 2 teams met, and it was the Oilers beating the Raiders 37-22. George Blanda was the quarterback for the Oilers, Tom Flores for the Raiders, and of course Houston went on to win the very first American Football League championship in that year 25 seasons ago. Here, no score. 4 minutes remaining in the half. The Raiders from the 15. Kenny King. And King fumbles, and the Oilers have it at the 30-yard line. Robert Brazil as King fumbles after a 15-yard carry.
And how quickly the emotion emotion can turn as you look at the statistics on fumbles from 1983. And indeed, when these Raiders were beaten during the season, it very often came as a result of their own miscues, interceptions and fumbles. And it looked like Kenny King was going to shift this Raider offense into high gear with a very fine run. But Bostic, number 25, coming from behind, stripped that ball away, and Brazil alertly picked it up.
The first turnover of the game at the 32-yard line. Earl Campbell. He's still on his feet. Earl Campbell out of bounds at the 10-yard line. "22 yards for Campbell. All-time average yards per game. Jim Brown, the only man in history to average over 100 yards every time he played. But Campbell is second all-time and considerably ahead of Peyton, Dorsett, Simpson, and all the other great runners. And Campbell showing he still has outside speed. It is a first down at the 10-yard line as Houston threatens with less than 4 minutes left in the first half. A scoreless tie. In fact, pilfered the ball long, heading the other way, but after the whistle.
I think maybe Howie would love to have had that ball, but I don't think he wanted to run 80 yards to the other end zone. And there's Hugh Campbell. Dick, we talked about the short end zones in our NFL brand of football, and this is a chance to watch the Oilers work against that. And of course, if they can get Campbell running the ball, they pull that defense up to pay attention to him. And that gives Moon more room for the passing game.
But now on 2nd and 10, or 2nd and goal from the 10, Campbell goes out, and Hugh Campbell brings in a better pass receiver, Donnie Kraft, number 40. Third-year man from Louisville. And the crowd on its feet as the Oilers threaten to get on the board.
To challenge those defensive backs, and even though they were sitting right on top, Van McElroy 26 right on top of Holston, and 51 Bob Nelson there too. You'll see it here, coming inside, and Moon rolling away from the rush, and he just shot that ball in between those two defenders. That's a great play.
The extra point by Florian Kemp is good. The Houston Oilers, after a fumble recovery, and we've got another pushing match as the Raiders and Oilers have been dancing throughout this half. Sean Jones, 99, being pushed away, a rookie from Northeastern, by his teammates. But after the fumble recovery at the 32, Moon gets the score on a 10-yard rifle shot to Holston, who was shaken up in the end zone. The Oilers lead the Raiders 7-0 late in the first half.
Before your beautiful rocker became a rocker, a skilled craftsman had to select every board, shape every form, fit every piece. Now it's your turn. Time to stain. No time for trip-ups. So depend on Carver Trip. Carver Trip Stain is formulated so the coverage is always uniform, the color always consistent. Carver Trip. No trip-ups.
Come on, I'll race you back. You gotta be kidding. For Michelob Light? Catch you later.
Michelob Light for the winner. But a couple of guys really go at it like this for a beer. Well, it is Michelob Light, the rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Michelob Light for the winner.
Too bad you missed that night back there.
Yeah, but I made this one.
Michelob Light.
So Hugh Campbell has scores his first touchdown as a coach in the National Football League, and the man he brought with him from Edmonton, Warren Moon, fired it to Holston, 10 yards, and the Oilers lead 7-0. Clee Montgomery and Dokie Williams are deep for the Raiders. Here's Kemp's kick toward Montgomery at the 6, the 20, and a flag down as Montgomery is tackled at the 30-yard line after a 24-yard return, and we would guess that the Raiders will be pushed back with another infraction. And there's Warren Moon, a happy quarterback on the sidelines. Let's go back to Coach Hugh Campbell as he observed Moon's touchdown throw.
Campbell's first NFL touchdown for his team under his control, and look at that. You see almost a great sigh of relief from the man.
On the return, number 56 on the receiving team. Illegal block. First down.
Jeff Barnes, and that means the Raiders are back at their 12-yard line to start this series with 3:12 remaining in the half. Well, this is what Hugh Campbell was hoping his team could do. Stay close early. Use all that enthusiasm. Now this crowd is starting to believe. They came in late. They seemed almost disinterested, but now they're very much behind this young Oiler team. They lead 7-0 with 3 minutes and 12 seconds left in the half.
Everyone is cordially invited to an important event. Presenting a computer demonstration starring PC Junior from IBM. But what can you do with PC Junior? For starters, there are programs for learning. And everyone can enjoy challenging games. But you can do word processing, communications, planning, graphics, budgeting, filing, and more, including many powerful business programs that run on the IBM PC. You can do a lot with PC Junior. There are over 1,000 programs you can use, with more being written every day. Visit a store near you for your own demonstration. PC Junior from IBM. Over 1,000 programs and growing.
Watch number 26 on the left side of your screen, McElroy. Number 71 is Piquel. He's putting the pressure on Moon. Moon rolls to his left. Now you'll see the receiver, Mike Holston, coming in right here with McElroy right behind him. Watch the shot. That's Matt Millen. That's 270 pounds. You saw a picture a moment ago of Holston on the sideline, and he really took a shot, but he hung onto the ball, and that's the critical thing.
A remarkable throw by Moon, and perhaps even a better effort on the reception. Plunkett from deep in his own end to Marcus Allen, and he's down at the 15-yard line, a gain of only 3. Robert Brazile, who recovered the fumble that set up the Houston touchdown, made the tackle.
Talking to Jerry Glanville, a defensive coordinator for the Oilers, asked him about his team and who he was happy with and so forth. He said, got a couple of youngsters down there, Bingham and Brazile. He said they're playing like puppies with all that enthusiasm.
Bingham in his 12th year, and Brazile in his 10th. 2:43 left in the half. Going upstairs to Barnwell. Flag is down. They're going to call interference against Steve Brown. That'll be a 35-yard penalty.
I'm sure the Raiders saying it's about time we got one call in our favor. Certainly most of the breaks and most of the calls have gone against them here in the early going.
There was a bump before the ball arrived. And Brown called for interference at midfield.
Defense, number 20, first down.
Well, it couldn't have been 20. 24 was the only white jersey in the picture.
Well, they tell us on the other side, and it is the call here by this official who apparently saw it just before. He saw him reach for his hanky a little earlier. Of course, he can't throw it till the play is finished. There it is.
Well, Brown, you can see why Steve Brown was upset. It was really a close call, but the Raiders will take it at the 46 of Houston with 2:41 left in the half. Allen likes to throw, and he's going touchdown passes last year.
What a pass. Now, Matt, we've seen Marcus throw the ball. Most running backs at this point are going to turn off and run with the ball. But Marcus rifles that ball about 55, 60 yards in the air, and Doki, who's a great sprinter, gets it in his hands in the end zone. I don't think he believed Marcus could throw that far.
Well, Allen was a high school quarterback in San Diego, and last year he threw 7 times, completed 4, and 3 of those were for touchdowns.
Certainly should have been 1 for 1 in a TD here.
It remains 7-0 Houston. Plunkett to Christensen at the 35-30, and Todd Christensen out of bounds at the 22-yard line. First down for the Raiders.
It's a very important series for the Raiders as we look at the numbers that really established Todd Christensen as such a major factor in the successes of the Raider team last year. 92 yards. You see him pointing a finger back at Plunkett, who did indeed drop that right on target here. But Christensen apparently coming in excellent shape, right at his playing weight of 231, and quickly becoming a factor in this game.
Leading receiver in the NFL with those 92 catches last year. That was his second today. First down, Plunkett going for the tying score. Christensen. He was covered by Greg Bingham.
Talking to Raider coaches and to Al Davis earlier, they were concerned about whether this Raider team was ready to play, and I think, well, you get a feeling for them. They started slowly in this game. Intensity, emotion are 2 qualities that make such a difference in a ball game. The Raiders have not had it, but the events of the last few minutes may have stimulated them and got their hearts pumping and the adrenaline pumping a little bit. See Flores, he's concerned. Al Davis was a man who was worried about them. He said, hey, I'm not sure we're ready to play. Well, they're 7 down at this moment.
Christensen and Bingham on the coverage, incomplete. So Plunkett now is only hitting on 1 out of 3 throws, 6 completions in 18 attempts for 74 yards, while Moon, a little better numbers, 7 for 13, and he has the only touchdown of the game.
Plunkett throwing to Christensen, and one of the things you can't simulate working out for yourself, the timing of the quarterback and the relationship between the quarterback and the receiver. Christensen, you see, moaning a little bit there. Perhaps if he had spent his time in training camp, he might well have caught that one instead of missing it.
Yeah, the ball was certainly catchable, and timeout called by the Raiders with 2:16 remaining in this first half. The Oilers lead 7-0 on Warren Moon's 10-yard touchdown throw to Mike Holston. You see the Jets have scored and have tied the game at Indianapolis at 7 just before. Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Houston Oilers and the National Football League is prohibited. The Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Raiders opening on the road here in Houston, and it's been a struggle the first half for Jim Plunkett and Tom Flores as they have been shut out with 2:16 left in the first half. And of course, in halftime, we'll bring you up to date on all the scores of week 1 in the NFL and some upsets.
I'm going to check with Axe. I thought I heard a horse asking to renegotiate his contract the other day, Dick.
Yeah, a couple buckets of oats and he was satisfied.
They wanted a little more of that grass hay instead of that other stuff they were feeding him. Bring me some of them good things.
Well, it is true that Gene Klein, the owner of the San Diego Chargers, when he sold his interest in the Chargers a month or so ago, said, well, the one thing now, I can still follow the Chargers, but my horses, and he has 200, 300 of them now, the thoroughbreds, he said they don't have agents. 3rd and 10, a big call for Plunkett. 6 defensive backs for the Oilers. Going for Christensen. Almost intercepted. Christensen had to break it up as the coverage from Darrell Meadows from Toledo University.
Extra defensive backs in on the long yardage situation. Plunkett deciding to take the option to his tight end. Todd is driving outside, but Meadows, anticipating the move, just waited for him to get out there, and they're lucky it was not, in fact, an interception and a safety.
Well, that was good coverage by Meadows. We saw him trail him. He was trailing Christensen all the way from the line of scrimmage after that initial contact. So Chris Barr will try a 40-yard field goal to get the Raiders on the board here in the half. And it is no good. Wide to the right. It remains 7-0 Houston.
Dick, there's something I remember from my playing days very well. Anytime you go into an indoor stadium, the crowd can become a factor very quickly. The noise level in this stadium is almost multiplied by 2. And this is when this crowd is aroused, they're a loud and noisy group.
Let's run down quickly all the scores. Miami wins at Washington, an upset, and 5 touchdowns for Marino. San Diego, a big winner at Minnesota. 30-27, 49ers in the final seconds win at Detroit. 28-27, the Giants open with a win against the Eagles. Moon to Campbell. Campbell running over his own blocker and is down at the 25-yard line, and the whistle sounds. The 2-minute warning has been given here at the Astrodome in Houston. As you look at Marcus Allen, he bloodied earlier in this game, and the Raiders have been shut out to this 2-minute mark. Houston leads 7-0.
He's Tom Flores, the Super Bowl winning coach of the Los Angeles Raiders. A winner on the field, admired and respected. And off the field, he's a leader in his community.
Most of all, I want to congratulate all of you for your efforts, for your caring.
As a Spanish American, he was raised among people with diverse backgrounds.
When you work as a volunteer, you don't get paid. Why do you do it? Why do people volunteer for certain things? Who can raise their hand and tell me?
Volunteers get love and respect.
These students in the La Raza course in creative writing are learning to express pride in the rich heritage of their Spanish origins.
In America, everybody has a chance. Everybody. Natalie, a very nice paper. Keep up the good work. Congratulations.
He knows their goal is to be the best their hearts and minds can make them. United Way salutes the work of La Raza and volunteers like Tom Flores.
Thank you very much. Gracias y adelante.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Back at the Astrodome, the Oilers leading 7-0 over the Raiders. 2 minutes left in the half. The other scores today: New England wins at Buffalo by 4. It was Atlanta upsetting New Orleans 36-28. Kansas City, there's another upset, wins at Pittsburgh 37-20. The Bears at home against Tampa Bay, a big winner. St. Louis falls short at Green Bay, the Packers by 1. Jets in Indianapolis tied at 7. In Indiana, and Denver leading Cincinnati 13-3 at the half. You're up to date, 7-0 here. Houston, 10-yard touchdown. Moon to Holston. Oilers ball, 2nd and 7 at the Houston 25. Moon on a draw. Moriarty, 4 yards short of the first down. Merlin, it was interesting yesterday that Hugh Campbell thought that his team this early in the season, and with all the coaching changes offensively, is even and maybe a little ahead of his schedule.
Well, one of the reasons for that, he selected Kay Dalton, who'd actually been here at Houston, who allowed the continuity of the terminology. The biggest change for a coach coming in very often is being able to speak the same language with your players. Well, Campbell was able to come to agreement. In fact, he said, Kay Dalton thinks like I do on offense. And he was thrilled then to keep the man here who had been in charge of the program, change some philosophy perhaps. But the thing they were able to keep in place was the terminology. And the reason for that makes it so easy is only Warren Moon and Hugh Campbell had to learn the new terminology. Everybody else could speak the language, and that probably saved him. Hugh said it saved us half a year in our transition.
So a little tougher on the head coach and his #1 quarterback. But in terms of the total team effort, that was the obvious answer.
Well, and the obvious thing we're seeing here, they're not afraid to go for it on every play. I mean, it's a go-for-it kind of offense, just as they are on defense. They know they don't have the kind of personnel the Raiders do. There's no question that they cannot match that way. They have to match with big plays. So far, in this ballgame, they're doing it.
The Raiders hoping that they can stop the Oilers here on 3rd and 3 with 1 minute 53 seconds left and get the ball back for a final chance in this half. Moriarty, the lone running back, known more for his running talent than his passing at Washington. It was a rollout run pass quarterback option for Don James at Washington, and he was not drafted by the National Football League.
Warren Moon has impressive speed. Two defensive players, one right there and a second right there, had a chance to make the tackle. Moon, well, that's the practice we told Jim Plunkett he better practice on, or the slide that we suggested Plunkett practice on. Excellently demonstrated by Moon there.
Clock running, 1:11, 1:10, and Howie Long, whether drawn offside or not, we'll soon learn.
They're shifting Howie Long and Alzado all over in that defensive line on the pass downs, trying to get a mismatch.
Encroachment, number 75, defense. First out.
Rather startling statistic, Merlin. The Raiders in their Super Bowl championship year last season, 16 games plus 3 playoffs, 19 games, were never shut out in the first half. And they've got a 0 up there with 1:10 remaining in this half.
And they don't have the football. They're going to have to get it back if they want to put points on the board in this half.
Moriarty out to the 42-yard line. A rather safe call, and the clock running at 1:04, now stopped by Houston. So the Oilers call the timeout.
I almost have the feeling that the Oilers maybe have gone a little bit conservative in the last few seconds of this half, comfortable perhaps with that 7 points they have on the board. I don't think that's going to be enough to win this game.
Warren Moon following James Harris, Doug Williams, Vince Evans, the 4th black quarterback to start in the National Football League. 5-year contract he signed for a reported $5.5 million. And he's brought not only his passing skills to Houston, he's brought his famed chocolate chip cookies. He's going to open up some cookie parlors here in south of Texas. He was the Rose Bowl star for the Washington Huskies as he led them to an upset win over Ohio State. It was Michigan, 27-20 back in 1978. He's from Los Angeles Hamilton High School, so he's not only playing against some people he knows rather intimately, but he knows they're watching back home in Los Angeles this afternoon. 7-0 the score. Campbell back as the lone running back. A short hop, that one. Dressel, the intended receiver. I wonder if Moon's arm was hit. That ball flopped short.
I don't think so. I think he saw Otis McKinney, number 23, coming up quickly and wisely decided to pull that one down a little bit. Throwing in front of the receiver that way is certainly the way to keep the defenders from intercepting the ball. You remember Terry Bradshaw always did that so well. If he had a receiver running with a defender behind him, the ball was thrown low. If the defender was between him and the receiver, the ball was thrown high. That's the same kind of thing here.
Third down, a short 3. 1 minute exactly left in the half. Campbell ran into his own blocker, and he got the first down anyway, out to the 45-yard line. Right up the back of his right guard, Pat Howell, number 66.
That's a big, strong offensive line. They don't quite have their coordination yet. They're not quite all on the same page, and the timing a little bit off on that play. In fact, it looked awkward, but ended up in a first down.
Well, that is a most interesting young line for the Oilers. They averaged, the 5 starters, 6'4½", 278 pounds, and they're less than 24 years of age. Man-to-man, Salem, number 2 draft pick out of California, his second year. Mike Munchak, number 1 pick in 82 out of Penn State at left guard. The center, Bruce Matthews, number 1 pick out of USC last year. Howell was a number 2 pick of Atlanta in 79, the right guard, and Steinkuhler, the number 1 pick this year from Nebraska. So this is the foundation for the Oilers of the future. This is where Campbell and the Houston organization has begun.
Tom Flores had an interesting comment. He said, and you see the youth of the rest of this team as well, he said that's the way to build a team, but he said the coaches who made those drafts are not around.
Yeah, they don't get to enjoy the fruits.
That's right.
Because as has been the case, the Oilers won only 1 game 2 years ago and only 2 in 14 last year, and have not won on the road for 3 years. Moon goes deep and too long for Steve Bryant. 44 seconds remaining.
Well, so much for being conservative. They come back shooting for the end zone. 44 seconds left in the half. Be 3rd and 10. Maybe a chance here for the Raiders to get their hands on the football before the half.
Oilers have 1 timeout remaining in the half. Ball at the 45. 7-0, the only score, followed the only turnover of this first half. A fumble recovery by the Oilers at the LA 32, and a Moon touchdown throw of 10 yards to Mike Holston. Moon flagged down. Incomplete. Intended for the touchdown receiver, Mike Holston. So he's okay back in the lineup, but a flag down against Houston.
I think the Munch might have been caught on that one. The Munch put the crunch on him in there. They're going to get him. Munchak, I believe, of the Gilly Party. You know, they didn't think he'd be able to start. 4 weeks ago, he had arthroscopic surgery on his knee, and they said, you know, that we'll bring him back when he's ready to play. And they told him yesterday he was going to start in this ball game, and because of that injury, he's probably behind where he would otherwise have been.
Holding offense number 74. Second down.
Sorry, Munch. That was your partner in there. Bruce Matthews ticketed with the call.
Matthews, who is part of a celebrated NFL football family. His dad, Clay Matthews, a linebacker with the 49ers in the 50s. His brother, Clay Jr., an outstanding linebacker with the Cleveland Browns. And now Bruce Matthews, who followed his older brother Clay at the University of Southern California, has moved now inside to play center for this Houston team. A draw. And it's good for 4 yards for Moriarty. Clock running 30 seconds, and who's going to call this timeout? The Oilers? No, the Raiders.
Yeah, they'd like to get their hands on the football at least once more before the half.
And apparently they will. That'll bring up 4th down, and the punting team comes on. Or no, it's 3rd down now. It looked as if they're going to swing it to 4, but the penalty, of course, that was part of this series. That's the last timeout for the Raiders. Houston has 1 remaining with 30 seconds. What do you think? The Oilers will stay on the ground, try to chew up some time?
Well, I think they'll. I don't know. It doesn't really matter what they do at this point. I don't think they're going to do anything risky. What we can look for is what happens if they have to punt the ball. Will the Raiders try and block the punt? I think the answer to that one is yes, they'll be coming, trying to get their hands on that football.
Well, next week, another NBC doubleheader. We hope you'll join us. Another outstanding slate of games. And following today's activity, 2 interconference games that bode well for the AFC strength as Miami wins at Washington and San Diego wins big at Minnesota. Denver, Chicago. New England will be at Miami. They both won today. Buffalo will try to rebound against the Cardinals, who also lost a tough one. And Kansas City will be at Cincinnati. Our major game late will be the Chargers at Seattle. Cleveland will visit the Los Angeles Rams, and the Colts will play here in Houston all next weekend. 2 games on NBC. Stay tuned. NFL 84. 30 seconds left. First half. Well, they know that the Raiders are out of timeout, so Moon just kneels, and Alzado gets in a final left jab on Moriarty, and the crowd doesn't like it.
I'm amazed that we don't have a flag on the ground. Several players not only shoving, but some fist swinging down there.
And I'm sure the officials feel, hey, that's going to be the end of the half no matter how you cut it anyway. The Oilers don't have to punt, and why throw a flag?
Dick, we talked about a David and Goliath kind of game. So far, David's doing pretty well. Moon loaded up that slingshot, got himself 7 points.
Yes, he did. And the Raiders are feeling the rocks from this Oiler team that leaves at halftime a surprising score in the Houston Astrodome. The Houston Oilers 7, the defending Super Bowl champions, the Raiders nothing.
This is today's Chevrolet. Ever notice how many Chevy Chevettes you see on the road? That's because Chevette's basic design hasn't changed in 9 years. A design so easy to service, many people do it themselves. And so dependable, 97% ever built are still going strong. Chevette, the lowest price car built in America, designed to please almost everybody. Value. That's today's Chevrolet.
How to eat a McDonald's Chicken McNugget 20-piece dinner.
Get ready, get set. Gotta go, go, go. They go fast, won't last. Tender, hot, hot. On your toes, watch out. Go, go, hot shot. Big dipper, little dipper, oops, slip, dip. Tasty, tasty McNuggets, so saucy, gotta pick. Pick 'em up, pop 'em down, go fast, won't last. Chicken, 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 chicken McNuggets.
It's a good time for the great taste. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. For McDonald's.
17 hours. That's how long it took us to paint this house with the brush. Then we painted it in just 6.5 hours with the Wagner Power Painter. This wicker chair took over an hour, but less than 5 minutes with a Wagner Power Painter. A shutter that took 20 minutes, a Power Painter finished in only 3. It's a tool so versatile, it has a flexible spray tip and a way to draw paint right from a can. A Wagner Power Painter. It's the right tool for painting.
Only turnover of the first half led to the only score. Houston 7-0 at the intermission. Let's go back to the final play of the first half. One of many little push and shove matches. And Lyle Alzado, 77, had the final, well, if not word, left jab.
You got to put a flag on that, Dick. You can't let him get away with that.
Now, the other pushing, that's all even, but Alzado got in the last word, no penalty. We'll be back, NFL 84, after these words from your local station.
Let's all be there Wednesdays this fall when Michael Landon travels the highway to heaven on a very special mission.
I'm an angel.
Some people don't believe it.
What?
But meeting an angel can be a very uplifting experience.
I turn the other cheek.
He's on a journey to touch the hearts of all America on the highway to heaven.
Feeling fit, looking in condition means down with calories, up with nutrition. Figurines Fit, getting in condition. They're down with calories, up with nutrition.
If you're serious about how you look and feel, remember, just 2 great-tasting Figurines bars provide 25% of the protein, vitamins, and minerals your body needs. Without the excess calories, you don't.
Figurines Fit, getting in condition. They're down with calories, up with nutrition. Down with calories, up with nutrition. Figurines.
Susie is thrifty. She can now buy more of this because she has that. Network One low-cost long-distance phone service saves money on every call, while husband Ken, a smart businessman, has this because he saves on that. Network One saves you money at the office and home on every long-distance call from your phone to any phone in the USA, with next-door voice quality at your fingertips. No connection charge to start service. Call now.
Have a double good time, have a double great day. Double your pleasure the Double Mint way. Get the single most favorite double in the world. Double good, Double Mint gum.
You'll really double your pleasure with Double Mint gum, because it's double good, double fresh, double smooth, always double delicious to chew.
Double good, Double Mint gum.
Double your pleasure with Double Mint gum.
Donny Osmond comes over to TV Monday on Entertainment Tonight at 7:30.
We're at halftime, and welcome back to our NFL 84 studios in New York. I'm Bob Costas. Let's get you caught up on the final scores we have thus far. At RFK Stadium, Miami rolled over the Redskins by a score of 35-17. Dan Marino threw 5 touchdown passes. He played in only 1 preseason game, but what a difference his presence makes to Don Shula's ball club. This is the go-ahead touchdown in the first quarter, 26 yards to Mark Duper. Penalty flag goes down. It was against the Redskins, and the score stood up. Now Marino will find Duper again in the second quarter. This one will cover 74 yards and give Miami a 14-10 halftime lead. They go on to win it 35-17. As we move to third quarter action, Marino is on the mark again. This time the mark is Clayton rather than Duper. Jim Jensen also latched on to a couple of touchdown aerials from Marino. 35-17 over the Redskins. Elsewhere, San Diego toyed with Minnesota at the Metrodome.
42-13 was the final score there. The Chargers were 1-5 a year ago without Dan Fouts, and of course, hereafter, the Vikings are without Bud Grant. You saw him on the field for pregame ceremonies. Here is Fouts going to the air for Wes Chandler. Chandler with a spectacular catch. He caught a couple of TD throws in the first half. This is the kind of day it was for the Vikings in the third quarter. Ted Brown decides to improvise, pitches back to Tommy Kramer. He gets rid of it. Thank you, says Gil Bird. I'll take it in for the touchdown. It was 42-3 at that point. 42-13 is the final score. San Francisco and Detroit in a wild one at the Silverdome. The Lions recall their painful defeat in the playoffs a year ago by a score of 24-23 at Candlestick against Joe Montana and company. Now in this ball game, Montana will lose the ball on this fumble, and it's William Gay who picks it up. He runs it in for a touchdown, or actually takes it down to the 2. Billy Sims took it in for a TD after that. It was 7-0 at that point in favor of Detroit. This Montana touchdown pass to Carl Monroe tied it at 7. Now in the fourth quarter with the 49ers in front 27-20. Leonard Thompson is all alone. Gary Danielson hits him 49 yards and a touchdown. They went down to the last 4 seconds. Ray Wersching kicked a field goal from 22 yards out. The 49ers won at 30-27. Earlier, Wersching had a career-best 54-yard field goal for San Francisco. The Giants beat Philadelphia today, 28-27, the final score. 4 touchdown passes and better than 400 yards in the air for Phil Simms, playing in his first regular season game since 1981. He certainly wasn't rusty. 28-27, New York. New England held a 21-3 halftime lead on Buffalo, and the Bills wound up making it close. 21-17 was the final score, but Kay Stevenson's team came up empty ultimately. This is the second play from scrimmage. Steve Grogan drops back, finds Stephen Starring, the second-year man out of McNeese State. It's a 65-yard touchdown. The Pats led 7-0 at that point, and they hold on to win it by a score of 21-17. Bill McAtee, what other finals do we have?
All right, Bob. Well, the Saints and the Falcons has turned into a pretty good rivalry down south. They played a big ball game today. Much concern in Atlanta after the loss of William Andrews. And today it was Gerald Riggs replacing Andrews. 2 touchdowns and 202 yards. Not a bad day. 36-28. Bit of a surprise. The Falcons win it. Another surprise at Three River Stadium. Kansas City and Pittsburgh. 17 new faces in the Steeler lineup as Chuck Noll has a big job ahead of him. One of those jobs is to replace Franco Harris. 37-27 was the final in that ball game. One player who is really impressed is number 1 draft choice Lewis Lips. Here he's on the receiving end of an 80-yard TD pass. Nice job getting into the end zone. 17-10 Kansas City. But Todd Blackledge had a big day replacing Bill Kinney, who's out for the early part of the season with a broken thumb. A 23-yard TD pass to Stephon Page here. Theodis Brown, acquired from Seattle, scored 2 touchdowns for the Chiefs. The final score, 37-27. Tampa Bay and Chicago. The Bears got off to a slow start in the 90-degree heat up at Soldier Field, but Mike Ditka's crew got things cranked up in the second half, and folks down in Tampa might be losing patience with John McKay's ability to put an offense on the field. But the Bucs did have a big play. It came here from Jack Thompson, a 74-yard TD pass to Gerald Carter. That made the score 7-3 Tampa Bay early in the second quarter. Later in the second quarter, Jim McMahon scored a 9-yard run around the right side. The extra point was good. It was 13-7. McKay then went with Steve DeBerg in the fourth quarter. He is sacked by the former Arkansas Razorback Dan Hampton. That set up a TD run by Anthony Hutchinson. And there you see the final, 34-14. Bob?
All right, so the Bears begin their 65th season in the NFL, but their first without their founder and owner, George Halas. Briefly here, let's turn to Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad, in the playoffs last season, the 49ers in the second half of their game gave the Redskins a tussle. Then the Raiders trounced them in the Super Bowl. Today, Miami beats them at RFK. Is it too early to anticipate the decline of the Redskins?
Exactly right, Bob. I don't think there's a carryover at all from last year to this year. What we had here today was a Marino to Duper show. And the thing is, they've got it going so well, it's very hard to stop those people.
All right, Ahmad, thanks very much. We'll continue here with NFL 84 halftime activities, so stay with us. Lots more football coming up.
The Astrodome in Houston, underdog Houston Oilers leading the Los Angeles Raiders 7-0 on a Warren Moon touchdown throw to Mike Holston. We're at the half. Let's check on results elsewhere to New York and Bob Costas.
All right, Dick, and we'll start with the finals. Miami 35, Washington 17 at RFK Stadium as Dan Marino throws 5 touchdown passes for Miami. San Diego romps at Minnesota 42-13 over the Vikes. At Detroit, a 22-yard field goal by Ray Wersching with 4 seconds left gave the Niners a 30-27 win over Detroit. 4 touchdown passes by the Giants' Phil Simms in his first start since 1981, 28-27 over Philadelphia. New England hangs on at Buffalo and wins 21-17. What a day for Gerald Riggs in relief of the injured William Andrews. 202 yards and a couple of touchdowns for the Falcons. Atlanta 36, New Orleans 28. Kansas City wins at Pittsburgh 37-27. Walter Payton had 61 yards, and now he needs 627 to pass Jim Brown for the #1 spot on the all-time list as Chicago won at Soldier Field over Tampa Bay 34-14. Green Bay ekes out a win over St. Louis. The final is 24-23. Elsewhere, games in progress. Jets lead Indianapolis in the third at the Hoosier Dome 10-7. In the third at Denver, the Broncos 13 and Cincinnati 3, but John Elway has a banged-up left shoulder. We don't know how serious it is yet. He's gone out of the game, and Gary Kubiak is in. Now please stay with us as NFL 84 halftime activities continue following these messages and a word from your local stations.
All Pawns Bootin', look out for red station wagon.
Mabel, honey, that's a camper.
That's a truck.
Let's go find out.
Introducing Trooper 2, the Go Anywhere, Be Anything truck from Isuzu. And because it's an Isuzu, you know it's tough and reliable. The Isuzu Trooper 2, it's all you'd ever want in a station wagon, a camper, a truck.
Morning, guys. See you right on time for services.
Morning, Miss Emma.
Isuzu, our wheels are always turning.
Wild comes to Wesh this fall at 7.
Houston Astrodome, 7-0 the score. The Raiders are first back on the field as we get ready for the second half. The Oilers will get the kickoff to start the second half. And we'll be back after these words of importance.
Before your beautiful rocker became a rocker, a skilled craftsman had to select every board, shape every form, fit every piece. Now it's your turn. Time to stain. No time for trip-ups. So depend on Carver Trip. Carver Trip Stain is formulated so the coverage is always uniform. The color always consistent. Carver Trip. No trip-ups.
Come on, I'll race you back. You gotta be kidding. For Michelob Light? Catch you later. Michelob Light for the winner.
When a couple of guys really go at it like this for a beer, well, it is Michelob Light. The rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Michelob Light for the winner.
Too bad you missed that night back then.
Yeah, but I made this one.
Michelob Light.
Back to the Astrodome in Houston. We're ready for the second half. 7-0. The Oilers leading the Los Angeles Raiders. And Merlin Olsen, we started today by saying, well, here's one team with great material and depth, and the Raiders, the Super Bowl champions. And then another young team that would play with enthusiasm and be very aggressive. And that is indeed has been the case for the Oilers.
Certainly has a very emotional first half for the Oilers, and they're showing dividends for that. The Raiders have been their own worst enemies. Not only they lacked great intensity, but they've also made a lot of mistakes. They were called on a holding penalty, pulled that pass back that would have put them on the 5-yard line with Marcus. Then Doki dropped Marcus's pass. They missed the field goal. You know, the interesting thing looking ahead now to the second half, the Raiders obviously have to lift that emotional level. And I think also the highly emotional play of the Oilers begins to take a toll. You begin to lose your energy. And the Raiders, let's face it, they're a physically superior team. That begins to pay dividends too. And I think we're going to see the Raiders bouncing back here in the second half.
You might wonder what happens in that locker room. Here, the Raiders, the veterans, they've been behind before. They know they can rally and win. On the other hand, here's Hugh Campbell with a young team. You almost wonder if maybe that 15-minute hiatus would hurt them in that high emotion.
I think the worst thing that happened is they had to stop. Things were going their way. They were playing well. They had to leave the field. They had to stop and actually physically sit down. It's hard to get back and get going.
Well, they're going to get the ball first. We're ready for the kickoff to start the second half. And Chris Barr will tee it up for the Raiders.
I'm sure that Tom Flory's busy telling his troops in the locker room, let's get out and go to work. We can't have a repeat of what we did in the first half.
So Barr will kick it off. Chris Barr approaches the ball. And it is fumbled out so the Oilers make a mistake on the kickoff, and they will start deep in their own end at the 13-yard line. Steve Brown unable to handle the kickoff. And more, those kickers are aiming the ball to the sidelines and putting that return man in pressure. One turnover, the only significant statistic in that you see the numbers, almost even the Oilers a few more yards than the Raiders, but the one turnover at the LA 32 led to the Houston score. Time of possession almost dead even.
Certainly not impressive stats for either team, and of course the big difference in the game, that turnover and the resultant score, the pass by Moon.
Jamie Williams, number 87, the tight end, and Chris Dressel, the H-back. Saw them change positions, and here comes Earl Campbell out to the 20-yard line. Rumbles Big Earl, and a gain of about 8. And oops, Campbell wincing as he gets to his feet. He's had some difficulties recovering from some off-season knee surgery.
I asked Hugh Campbell, I said, what is I obviously knew what the best thing it was that could happen. His team could win. I said, what's the worst thing that could happen? He didn't hesitate. He said, injuries. You can't afford to lose this man, Earl Campbell. You can't afford to lose Warren Moon. And there are other very valuable players you don't want to get hurt. So far, they have not had any injuries.
Right back up the middle go the Houston Oilers, and apparently they have a first down in the grasp of Campbell out at the 24-yard line as he picks up 4 more. That gives him 68 yards rushing. Hugh Campbell, pensive mood on the sidelines, his young team leading 7-0. We got a report that John Elway has injured his left arm in the Denver game against Cincinnati. The Broncos leading 13-10. Ross Browner falling on him, and Gary Kubiak now has taken over at quarterback for the Broncos. So that could be a costly first game injury for Denver. First down, Houston. Dressel in motion. Campbell cutting back inside and diving to the 27. Gain of 3.
Obviously a decision by Kay Dalton, Hugh Campbell, to come out and challenge the Raiders. And I'm impressed. They said, hey, well, let's go right down head to head. And these are the world champions. They're going right at them. Chance to look at Dressel right there, number 88, the H-back. He's the man that turned up to open that hole. Moon giving the ball to big Earl Campbell, and Earl is having a good day.
28-yard line, a gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Moon rolling. And Lyle Alzado has him in the grasp and in control of the quarterback. Alzado to close out the first half, and a bit of a slapping match with Moriarty of the Oilers, and he comes up with his first sack here early in the second half.
That play, an extremely smart play by the Raider defense. That was a good faking action inside and a little bootleg outside, and a lot of defenses would have been sucked in on the play. The Raider defensive backs covering so tight downfield that Moon had no option, had to pull the ball down, and he got sacked.
So the Raiders bring in Greg Townsend, 93, Bill Pickel, 71, better pass rushers, and out of the shotgun, Moon. 3rd and 17. Back at the 14-yard line, run out by Pickel and Townsend, the 2 men we talked about.
3 wide receivers downfield, all 3 tightly covered, and Moon, who's not afraid to throw to a receiver who has even a few inches of space, had to hold that ball and take it out of bounds.
Now the Raiders will bring in Greg Pruitt as John James set to kick. He's working on his second 1,000.
James, not a great boomer, no matter what he does here. The Raiders will have excellent field position for their first drive.
And he hits that one well for distance. Pruitt back to his 38. Looking for the wall. And has it. 45, 50, 40. And he's finally dragged down at the 29-yard line. Greg Pruitt. Robert Lyles, a rookie linebacker, may have saved the touchdown.
Several of the Raiders making good choices as they came downfield in position to block, but not able to throw the legal blocks. They held up. No penalty on that play as Pruitt showing you some amazing returning skill. He's been around for a long, long while. Look at him set up those blocks. Great runners help their blockers. The little fakes actually made it possible for those blockers to get into position. Big play.
34-yard return to match the number on his jersey. Here's Kenny King. And King all the way to the 20-yard line. And close to a first down. It was King at the end of a solid run in the second quarter, fumbling, that set up Houston for the game's only score.
I'm sure that Kenny King has not forgotten that fumble did lead to a touchdown for the opposing team. And he'd like to make something happen here for his team. Hanging on, you see him with two hands there early on. He clinched that football, driving, getting the extra effort. Second very short. I wonder if they'll go for that touchdown here, Dick.
From the 20-yard line, Plunkett with a down to play with. Yes, he is going for the little toss to Christensen. And he's inside the 10-yard line, out of bounds at the 9. First and goal for the Raiders.
Todd may have hurt himself on that play. Did a flip as he came down. And he's a little wobbly as he gets off the ground. And that's the hard part of this field. We mentioned what a tough field this is. Watch Christensen take that little pass. He's wide open. And then look what happens when he hits the dirt here. He goes right over the top on his head, gets up with a lung full of dirt. He's going to be sore, believe me. As little as he has been banged around, the hitting in today's game will leave him extremely sore tomorrow and the next day.
Raiders trailing 7-0 early in this third quarter. First and goal at the 9. Marcus Allen diving to about the 5. Right up the middle into the grasp of Jesse Baker.
Dick, you can already feel the change in the emotional pitch between the two teams on the field. And again, I think it goes back to the fact that playing emotional football and being so eager and so hungry has taken a great deal out of that Oiler defense. On the other hand, the Raiders never did get the engine going. They just started to step on the gas.
They mark the ball at the 6-yard line, second and goal. Barnwell to the left, Branch in motion. Flag, and may have been illegal procedure against the Raiders. Yes. Full start offense, number 70, Henry Lawrence.
Official's microphone not working on that play. Dick, you did a good job of lip reading on that one.
So it'll be second and goal from the 11-yard line for the Raiders as they are in quest of a tying touchdown.
Certainly have been their own worst enemies.
Marcus Allen in motion. Plunkett to Christensen at the 1-yard line. Just shy of a touchdown. It'll be third and inches for a tying score for the Raiders, and Christensen has his 4th catch.
I think Plunkett wanted Marcus in the end zone, but he spots reliable Todd Christensen driving inside, pushes off Abraham there, does a good job. That's Bostic covering him tightly. The officials saying that he was pulled to the ground, well, inside actually that 1-yard line. Third and goal to go.
This is where they like to go to Allen. Marcus, touchdown. Robert Brazile finally pushing Allen out of the end zone. Matt Millen coming out to tell Brazile that he didn't like it. Oh, this man, an inordinate number of these kinds of post-play events, even for the Raiders.
The Raiders' own style of football, which is intimidating and pressure football. And they're getting some of it back today from these young upstart Houston Oilers. They don't like it. They're not enjoying it at all. You've got to be very proud if you're an Oiler fan of the way the Oilers have played. But certainly the Raiders' power and energy and strength being felt here. Marcus really didn't mind that so much. And Brazile goes over to pick him up. An unnecessary push there by Brazile, however.
So Chris Barr comes in to try to tack on the extra point that would tie the game at 7 is Marcus Allen. What a touchdown maker he has been with the Raiders. In his first 2 years, scoring 26 times, plus the 3 touchdown passes, and he has the first Raider score of 84. Mark Wilson, the backup quarterback, to hold. He missed it. He hit the upright, and the Oilers still lead 7-6.
Chris Barr cannot believe that he has missed his second kick here in the ball game. He cannot believe it. Look at that.
No place to hide. The extra point try hit the upright. The Oilers are still in front.
Welcome to Miller time.
At Miller High Life, time is everything. Beer drinkers come to us because we've been brewing an extra quality for the last 129 years. That's a lot of our time. But it's the reason you spend your time with us when you want the best beer you can find. Miller High Life.
With a stock engine.
Now, wait a minute. Are you guys saying you ran the Baja in a stock engine pickup?
Recently, 2 men named Henry Simpson and John Camacho took on the Baja 1000 in a stock engine Isuzu truck. Fighting torturous terrain and big companies with heavily modified engines, they were the first imported truck to finish the race.
Let me buy you guys a drink. All right.
Isuzu. Our wheels are always turning.
Los Angeles Raiders pulled to within 7-6, but Chris Barr duck hooking that extra point into the upright, and the Oilers still up by 1. Barr's kick, beautiful kick deep to Brown, and he gets back only to the 16-yard line. And a scramble. Apparently the ball was whistled dead, and it's in Brown's grasp anyway. Timeout, 10 minutes, 11 seconds left in the third quarter. Oilers with a ball and a 7-6 lead.
When you take one of these things up, you've got a crew to help.
Test pilot Chuck Yeager for AC Delco.
When it comes to my car or truck, I do the work myself. In 40 years, AC spark plugs have never let me down. And with today's technology, AC fire ring spark plugs are engineered to give you up to 30,000 miles reliable performance. Never wait for trouble. Go with AC fire ring spark plugs.
Call 800 AC Delco for a retailer near you.
Sure, it's a lot of bouncing around, but it did put 2 great kids through college.
This isn't just a job. This is a chance to make a difference.
Coors to you. You've earned it, and this day too. You've earned it. Rocky Mountain Gold and Silver.
Labor Day 1984. And to the working people of America from the working people at Coors and Coors Light. Nice work.
The best of the country is you.
Let's all be there this fall when Lonnie Anderson teams up with Linda Carter as television's most unlikely detectives.
How madcap.
They're partners in crime.
Now, Merlin Olsen, the problem if you're a kicker, you don't get to go out on the next play and knock somebody down. You have to just let it all soak in.
Well, not only that, but right now he's hoping that that 1-point miss isn't the difference in this game.
He's also missed on a 40-yard field goal try. Houston leads 7-6, first down at the Oilers' 16. And you can see one of the guards pulling Mike Munchak jump the gun. That'll be 5 yards against the Oilers. 10 minutes, 10 seconds left in the third quarter in Houston. 7-6 Oilers. Now to New York. And this update.
All right, Dick, when those two teams met last year, it was also a defensive battle. Want to show you what happened in Indianapolis. Pat Ryan gets it off to Mickey Schuler. Second Schuler-Ryan TD combination, 16-7. A note here, same score. The Jets beat the Colts by in Super Bowl III.
Oilers 7, Raiders 6, third quarter here in Houston. Moon after the 5-yard penalty at the 11, first and 15. those cornerbacks of the Raiders, right up on the line of scrimmage. Earl Campbell, not much, a yard, maybe two. Matt Millen, 55, along with 93, Greg Townsend.
Raiders have gone to a 4-man line anticipating the rush, but kept Millen in to play the run. That's one of the things that makes these Raiders so difficult to play against, is that their people are so strong and so physical, both on offense and defense. Millen, a good example, really a lineman playing in that linebacking position and capable of going head-to-head with an Earl Campbell.
Millen at 6'2" and somewhere between 250 and 270, was a defensive tackle at Penn State. Moriarty has replaced Campbell. Moon just did get that one off as he was being tackled in the end zone by Matt Millen, and for his size you can see how quick he is.
He has lost some weight. He got up very heavy last year. Watch him as we ISO on him one-on-one, and he caught an open spot in that line. He's on top of Moon. Moon is throwing that ball away, and that's what Millen got up. Millen on Moon. Now Millen is up, and he was saying, hey, he grounded the ball. You got to throw a penalty flag on him.
Millen on Moon, who was looking for Mullins.
Yeah, there we go. I knew we'd get there.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere in between those.
Now Warren Moon now at his own 12-yard line. Shotgun, third down, 14.
Bad snap.
And he drills it incomplete at the 20-yard line as Mike Davis, the strong safety, able to knock it away from Eric Mullins. So the punting team comes on, and the first two possessions of the Oilers in the second half have been disastrous, as the Raiders really showing their defensive teeth.
That could have been a disaster. That was a low snap. Moon very adroitly picked it up and did get the ball off, although it was not caught. James kicking out of his end zone and is going to be forced to step into the dirt area. The pitcher's mound, I guess, is really, no, that's home plate, isn't it, Dick?
Yes, it is.
He's going to have to kick it out of the dirt.
And Pruitt, a 34-yard return, waits at midfield for the Raiders. Good kick. At the 43. 50. And finally harnessed at the 47-yard line. A 10-yard return for Greg Pruitt. It was his punt return on the last possession that set up the Raiders' only score. It's 7-6 Houston. 9 minutes left, third quarter.
Look out for red station wagon.
Mabel, honey, that's a camper. That's a truck. Let's go find out.
Introducing Trooper 2, the go anywhere, be anything truck from Isuzu. And because it's an Isuzu, you know it's tough and reliable. The Isuzu Trooper 2, it's all you'd ever want in a station wagon, a camper, a truck.
Morning, guys. See you right on time for services.
Morning, Miss Emma.
Isuzu, our wheels are always turning. Incredibly, 90% of all major banks make their international payments through one computer network from Burroughs Corporation. Every day, billions of dollars are transferred in seconds around the world. And after more than 300 million transactions, the network has never once broken down. Reliable systems like this are just one example of Burroughs' commitment to be the best computer company in the world.
Welcome back to the Astrodome in Houston. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The Oilers scored in the second quarter on a Warren Moon to Mike Holston 10-yard touchdown. Marcus Allen on a 1-yard slash off tackle made it 7-6, but Chris Barr's extra point try hit the upright, and the Oilers maintain a 1-point lead. But here's Jim Plunkett in excellent field position in Houston territory to start this sequence. Looking for Christensen, but over his head, and too short for Cliff Branch, who is the other Raider downfield.
That's certainly one of the areas in which Plunkett and Christensen will suffer jointly. They haven't been able to throw that many passes to each other. Christensen didn't believe that ball was coming to him. Actually slowed down, assuming it was being thrown over his head to Branch. I believe it was thrown to Todd.
In that huddle, number 72, Don Mospar. He was the number 1 pick out of USC last year by the Raiders, had a back injury and just didn't play much until late in the year, but he has replaced Mickey Marvin at right guard. That's the only change on offense for this Super Bowl team. There's Branch, and Tullis strikes him down at the 24. Cliff Branch. Oh, he just has not aged a bit. His 13th year in the league, he still is lightning quick, always seems to be open.
Well, the equation is simple. Give the quarterback time to pass. Number 72, Don Mosbar, in the middle, working one-on-one. Lockup right there, forcing the man outside, and then the pass to Branch. Now they're trying to cover him one-on-one with Willie Tullis. Look how he turned Tullis around. Got him to turn completely around. Once you've done that, the defensive back is trying to play catch-up.
Now it's Marcus Allen's turn, and a good tackle as knifing through was Jesse Baker, number 75 from Jacksonville, state of Alabama. He was a college anchor sprint relay man. On their sprint relay, this big guy ran the anchor leg. So
I want to know how fast they ran this relay, Dick.
He was a 9.8 in high school.
That's impressive. I'm impressed.
So Jesse Baker able to chop down Marcus Allen after a 1-yard gain.
Dalby out of the game. Romano in at center. Apparently, Dalby may have re-injured or reactivated a groin injury that kept him out of the preseason ball games.
Luckett looking deep, has him in open. Marcus Allen, a very tough chance, but that had touchdown written all over it, but Marcus operating down in the dirt of that corner.
You know what was interesting about that play? He literally refuses to take his eyes off of that football. As you'll get a chance to see, he's in the dirt area of the field, and it was the field that I think eventually betrayed him. Watch him. He keeps his eyes all the way. His feet go right out from underneath him. I think if that had not happened, he might well have had that football.
There's a very impressive graphic on Marcus Allen, the best in the AFC running backs catching the football. He can run it, he can catch it, and you saw today he certainly can throw it. Greg Pruitt has replaced him. It's Hawkins and Pruitt on 3rd and 9. Big play for the Raiders. There's Branch open again, and a first down at the 12-yard line. Tullis made the tackle. Well, there's that gambling defense of the Oilers. They came with everyone, and they went man-to-man on the coverage, and Branch open.
You live by the blitz, you die by the blitz. And on that particular play, let's give some credit to the experience level of Jim Plunkett. Read the blitz, knew where the open man was, and he has to react so quickly. Blitzing man from the outside on top of him instantly. That's one of the defensive backs coming, safety blitz, and he had that ball out of there and to the right place on the field. I'm sure he didn't even have time to look for Branch, just knew where he would be and delivered the ball.
Branch now with 4 catches and 61 yards. The Raiders trailing by only 1. Marcus Allen driving to near the 7-yard line, carrying Greg Bingham with him, and Bo Eason, number 21, the number 2 draft pick of the Oilers. Out of California, Davis. His brother, of course, Tony Eason, the quarterback of the New England Patriots. Today's game brought to you by Isuzu, maker of fine cars and trucks. By IBM and PC Junior. There's a lot that's new about PC Junior, and it's all good news for you. And by AC Delco, the smart parts. 2nd down, a long 5. Allen again. He's inside the 5. And pushing near the 3-yard line, close to a first down.
Some real power and some struggling going on down there as the Raiders try and flex the muscle of that right side of their offensive line, where Mosbar is now teamed with Henry Lawrence. Dave Dalby back into the ball game, apparently not injured. Of course, that's good news for the Raiders, although they have depth now that doesn't cause them to lose much at all.
Derek Jensen, 31, the special teams captain and extra blocker on the sidelines. It's 3rd down. We call it a yard for a first down and 3 yards for a touchdown. Allen now 58 yards rushing, and the Raiders' only touchdown. 6 minutes and 9 seconds left.
One of the officials, I think, bumped on that last play, and they might have been making sure he is all right on this play. Yeah, there he is. You see him with his hat off. He's holding his back. Looked like he took a shot in the back. There's a lot of traffic down there. There's not much room for them either.
Gordon Wells, the umpire, and of course he's the man that's right looking at the center on offense, and he's in the thick of a lot of action.
He's a little woozy.
Timeout, 7-6 Houston.
The great cars of Europe priced out of reach. until now. Renault bridges the gap between European technology and affordability. Renault Alliance with comfort for 5. And now introducing Alliance Convertible. Renault Alliance, fuel injected, fuel efficient. European technology from Renault, Europe's leading car maker. 6161, built in America and affordable.
The one to watch, the one to watch, the one to watch.
Renault.
Here you go, Tommy. You know, this new L8 Anheuser-Busch is quite a beer. Naturally aged, smooth. It tastes great. Real, drinkability.
See, the way I figured it, with only half the alcohol of the regular beers.
There'd be certain times when L8 beer would be a really good idea. Boy, was I wrong.
Around at L.A., Jim.
These guys think it's a good idea anytime.
For the way you live, L.A.
It's a whole new brand of beer enjoyment. Taste it.
The American tradition continues. Chicagoans and New Yorkers have had little to cheer about in recent Septembers, but this year the Mets chase the Cubs. Pennant Fever sweep Chicago and New York in a battle for first place. Or the Angels take on the White Sox. The tradition is here on the home of the World Series.
Marcus Allen and Earl Campbell, as expected, the leading rushers for their respective teams. Neither with a brilliant day, but certainly solid contributors to the offense. Allen 11 yards behind the power back of the Oilers and has the Raiders' only touchdown, and he figures to be one of the defensive keys for the Oilers as the Raiders break huddle 3rd and 1 at the 3-yard line. 6 minutes left, third quarter. So it's 3rd and 1, not 3rd and 3. It's 3 for the touchdown. Frank Hawkins. I don't know if he made it or not. And Oilers saying a fumble, and they have the football. And here's another scramble.
And that's Marcus in the fight now. You don't want to get yourself thrown out of a ball game. He and Greg Bingham going at it.
That's unusual for Marcus.
That really is unusual. Marcus rarely angered to a point, rarely loses his composure. Bingham always rather feisty at the bottom of the stack, but those two are not the two I expected to see in the battle.
Those are the two that were bloodied earlier, not necessarily in head-to-head combat, but Bingham with a cut, and so did Allen in the first half. Now they'll have to untangle two things. One, where the ball will be spotted, and two, what the penalty situation is.
Personal foul both sides, and it's going to negate. It cancels out. And that's a tough place for an official to be. Two guys going at each other. Now, if one guy just comes up and whacks another guy, you drop the flag on one man. But when both of them are fighting, pretty difficult not to give them both a penalty.
We're going to go back and watch Bingham 54 and White 32. There's Allen.
Allen swept off his feet. Bingham coming up off the ground. Now let's take a chance. Bingham gets hit by one of his own people, and I think he thought that Marcus was coming after him. May have said something to him. Oh, he got a hold of the face mask. He's lucky he didn't get called for that one.
And Bingham was seemed to be in somewhat an innocent position. He didn't know where the pushing and shoving was coming from.
Well, he was getting hit from several directions, and they do have the first down.
So things worked out well for the Raiders in that exchange, and the Jets have a 2-point lead in Indianapolis in the fourth quarter, and the other late game finds the Cincinnati Bengals taking the lead at Denver 17-13 in the fourth quarter.
Dick, that's a tough call for an official too. You know, this is a game of inches, and that chain is 10 yards long, but those officials are expected to look into that mass of humanity, try and figure out exactly where Frank Hawkins is carrying that ball, and then mark the spot to the exact inch.
First and goal, just inside the 2-yard line. Plunkett wide open is Christensen. He can't get it. He was 7 yards in the open.
Looks like Dave Dalby is on the ground. No, Dalby's back up. The timing on this play, absolutely critical. A beautiful job of faking. They had the Oilers totally fooled on this play. Christensen faking the block, slips out, ball arched up over the top, and just off the fingertips. One more day in camp.
That's what the coaches will tell
One more day in camp.
You've heard that one.
I've heard that one, you bet.
That, when they show the films tomorrow, will be a comment. Second and goal. Hawkins for the touchdown. Frank Hawkins gives the Raiders their first lead of the game.
Flexing their muscles. Frank Hawkins, one of the many offensive tools. Marcus Allen, the blocker, and I'm sure everyone expecting Marcus to carry the ball. He's the blocker here, and Hawkins, the man who earns the touchdown.
The ex-Nevada Reno running back, he rushed for over 5,000 yards. As his first touchdown of the year, Barrs tried for point, and he nails that after hitting the upright on his first. So 5:32 remaining in the third quarter, and the Super Bowl champions have finally scratched their way into the lead. It's 13-7 here in Houston.
The great cars of Europe priced out of reach. Until now, Renault bridges the gap between European technology and affordability. Renault Alliance with comfort for 5. And now introducing Alliance Convertible. Renault Alliance, fuel-injected, fuel-efficient. European technology from Renault, Europe's leading car maker. 6161, built in America and affordable. Renault.
20 ways to eat McDonald's Chicken McNuggets for dinner.
First you pick it up, then you dip it in. Then you lift it up, then you pop it down. Pick it up, dip it in, lift it up, pop it down. Bite, taste, triple dipperoo. Winding up, winding down, carrying through. Stack it to you, pump it to you, nibble, nibble, bite. Dip a little, dip a lot, tasty, tasty, so light. Ooh, sweet and sour, hot mustard, barbecue or honey. Chicken McNugget.
It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
Pick it up, dip it in, lift it up, pop it down.
They are the prodigies of racing's true champions, the sons and daughters of Northern Dancer, of Seattle Slew, of Alydar. This fall, the bloodline will be tested, and new champions will be born. The Breeders' Cup on NBC.
Dave Dalby, the veteran center, one of only 2 in 25 years to play that position as a starter for the Raiders. The other man's in the Hall of Fame, Jim Otto, and Dalby replaced him. And Dalby, a consistent veteran of now 13 years. Barr skips it down and takes a Raider bounce. And Brown now has to go out of bounds with it at the 6-yard line. So Barr's excellent placement on the kickoffs, plus a tough defense, and that has resulted in Plunkett and the offense getting the ball in good position. The 2 Raider touchdown drives have been 28 yards and 47 yards, and the Oilers are pinched deep when we return.
Welcome! They said he couldn't retrieve his own shadow, but you didn't give up on him. Now comes your time.
To Miller time!
And Miller time means it's time for the best beer you can find, Miller High Life.
Bring your thirsty self right here, the rich, smooth taste of Miller beer is what you have in mind.
Welcome to Miller High Life.
Welcome to Miller time.
Hello, Fred. We've had a few changes in the design.
Changes?
Well, now visualize, if you will, the main I-beam is now vertical.
Vertical?
And the center post is horizontal.
Horizontal?
Well, Fred, how's it look?
I don't know about this, Bill.
Next time, send it Zap Mail. We can get a copy of drawings, graphics, whatever, coast to coast in just 2 hours. Federal Express introduces Zap Mail. It's absolutely, positively incredible.
There was no timeout taken. This is Earl Campbell carrying on 2nd down. Campbell on 1st down gained about 4 to the 10, and now is out about the 12-yard line and has a 1st down. So Earl Campbell, back-to-back rushes, gives Warren Moon and the Oiler offense a bit of breathing room. It'll be 1st down for the Oilers at their 12, trailing 13-7 with 4 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Kicking game plays such a big role. You start with your back against the goal line. You can't play with the same kind of aggressiveness as when you get good field position.
Campbell now with 80 yards rushing today. And he gets the ball again. Diving out to the 22-yard line. Pick up of 5 more. the Heisman in '77. There's Marcus Allen, a Heisman Award winner, playing for the Raiders.
Just looking back at that first year that he came to play for this Oiler team, I've never seen a player have as much impact on a season as Earl Campbell did in that year, and I was never so glad about my year of retirement. I didn't have to tackle him.
2nd down and 5. Campbell again, running left, running right, and that'll be close to a 1st down. Another 5-yard gain. That'll get him to the 90-yard mark. 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter as we switch to New York.
Dick, moments ago at the Hoosier Dome, Ron Stark punts for the Colts. Kirk Springs will attempt to return it for the Jets, but watch the hit he'll take from Indianapolis's Mark Kafensis. It knocks the ball loose. The Colts recover. Frank Middleton then scored from the 3 with 8:40 to go. It's now 16-14 Jets.
Here in the Astrodome, they're measuring for a possible Houston 1st down. It's short by that much. 3rd down for the Oilers.
Talking about Campbell and the kind of punishing runner he is, I'd ask Matt Millen earlier, I said, you've played against Earl a number of times. Do you have any special memories of playing against Campbell? He says, yeah, he says, last year's game. He said he didn't play in that one.
That's special. that makes it special.
That was really special.
Look at the arms on Millen.
You know, he's got a T-shirt on. I saw him in the locker room before the game. Got holes in it and moth-eaten. Here's a championship team. I think by choice he wears that. It's one he probably got in high school.
Good luck T-shirt. 3rd and inches as Millen and the Raider defense digs in. Look at Hayes, the cornerback, up on the line of scrimmage. Campbell. Well, the old Earl Campbell, before the injuries and the wear and tear of 6 seasons in the NFL, might have broken that one loose for a touchdown. His old speed, he was in the open.
Brings memories of a conversation I had with Bum Phillips after Campbell had gone through that first bruising and battering season. I said, Coach, I think you got to teach Earl when to get out of bounds and when to go to the ground. He said, you know, Earl is delivering all those blows. I said, Bum, you're absolutely right, but he's delivering those blows with his body. And Earl Campbell certainly has delivered more pain than he's endured, but his body has taken a beating.
Moriarty gives him a breather, and Howie Long driving into Steinkuhler, number 70, and it's again Steinkuhler, the rookie right tackle.
Steinkuhler certainly has started his pro career with a bang, working against Gastineau and Tutal, and now against probably the finest young defensive end in the league, Howie Long.
What a story. This young man is from a town in Nebraska, Burr, Nebraska, population 110. They didn't have enough players to play 11-man football. He played 11-man football in high school.
You saw that little bounce there, just enough to and that's a free shot for the defensive lineman. Howie knew it. Didn't really hurt Steinkuhler, just embarrassed him on that play.
In fact, he didn't even play in Burr. They had to go over to Sterling, Nebraska to play their 8-man football. Then out of Nebraska and won the Outland and the Lombardi. Moon. Fine reception by Jamie Williams, number 87, also an ex-Cornhusker.
Got a tag for that story about Steinkuhler. When he and his wife were here for the Lombardi Awards, had a chance to spend some time with him, and his wife was talking about the fact that he came from such a small town, had a hard time getting around at Nebraska, you know, in Lincoln. He said, that's a big city. And she said, I had to do most of the driving early on. I wonder how he's doing here in Houston.
That old line that when you went into Burr, Nebraska, you entered, and the sign also said you're leaving, all on one side. 2nd down, 8. 13-7. Raiders lead. 2:11 left. 3rd quarter. Moon. Whistle had blown the play dead. Moon was out of bounds when he threw the ball.
Good quarterbacks wait till the last possible second before they unload that football. Moon driving to the side. That's Holston, who took a shot earlier and is probably still a little sore from that. But watch Warren Moon. He's going to get some pressure from Greg Townsend, number 93, who is a very fast lineman. Howie Long, both very quick. Right there, throwing the football, and the official said that that right foot was on the line. Let's see if he does kick up the chalk. I I think it's a legitimate pass, at least from this angle. Foot was inside clearly, and there's Mike Holston. We'd indicated he'd been banged earlier. He took another shot on that play.
Holston, who caught the touchdown pass and was hit hard by Millen in the end zone, trying to recover. It's 13-7 Raiders.
The great cars of Europe priced out of reach. Until now, Renault bridges the gap between European technology and affordability. Renault Alliance, the highly acclaimed, smooth, quiet ride, and sedan comfort for 5. Renault Alliance, fuel-injected, fuel-efficient, European technology from Renault, Europe's leading car maker. 6161, built in America and affordable.
The one to watch, the one to watch, the one to watch.
Renault.
Uniroyal Laredo SR. You may never need an off-the-road tire this good. You may never need Uniroyal's off-the-road tire technology unless you also drive one place that most off-the-road tires find very uncomfortable terrain. On the road, where Laredo's ride is smooth and quiet. The all-terrain Laredo from Uniroyal. You may never need a tire this good.
Houston, but that game in Denver shows the Broncos now regaining the lead against the Bengals 20-17 with their starting quarterback Elway injured. Gary Kubiak to Clarence Kay, rookie tight end, 8 yards for the touchdown for Denver in the fourth quarter. Third down and 18 for Warren Moon out of the shotgun. Underneath the coverage, and Otis McKinney buries Steve Bryant. Far short of the first down at the 30. It'll be 4th and 10. McKinney, one of those outstanding specialists. He's that nickel back that comes in and does an outstanding job. He originally drafted in the second round by the New York Giants in '78.
The difficulty of playing these black-shirted Raiders is that when you sit down and look at their film and try and figure out what you're going to do, you look for weaknesses. You scratch your head, and then you say, now what are we going to do?
John James, a little better field position as he readies to punt. Pruitt back at his own 30. Short kick. Bad kick. And the Raiders have good position again at their own 39-yard line. So Los Angeles 13, Houston 7 here in the Astrodome. Let's check on other results.
Dick, you showed the Denver score, and here's how it happened. A 75-yard drive executed by Gary Kubiak in for the injured John Elway, and the Texas Aggie hits Clarence Kay with an 8-yard TD pass. 20-17, the Broncos are back on top.
And in finals earlier today, Miami won at Washington 35-17. It was San Diego 42-13 winning at Minnesota. The 49ers final second field goal 30-27 at Detroit. 28-27, the Giants edge Philadelphia. 21-17, New England won at Buffalo. Here it's 13-7 as Plunkett looking for Allen. And he's down at the 46-yard line with a 6-yard gain. Other finals earlier today, Atlanta upsetting New Orleans 36-28 at the Superdome. Kansas City upsetting the Steelers at Three Rivers 37-27. And it was the Bears romping against Tampa Bay 34-14. You're up to date on all the scores. Well, there's another. Green Bay edging St. Louis at home 24-23. Jets lead Indianapolis 16-14 in the fourth. Denver leads Cincinnati 20-17 in the fourth. And here, final minute of the third quarter, Plunkett and the Raiders in front. Christensen unable to make the one-handed catch. Coverage by Bo Eason, 21, the rookie safety man. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4.
Dick, we saw those passes, the deep passes early on from Plunkett falling incomplete. But effectively, they have forced the Raiders to respect the depth of those receivers. And they're finding room underneath now in the second half. And although Plunkett's percentage on completions is not great for the day, it's improving now. And certainly the critical thing is the score on the board and the fact that the Raiders now seem to be controlling the football game.
3rd and 4 for Plunkett at his 46. Checkoff pass by Plunkett, and Riley timed it perfectly to crush Kenny King.
And if you're Kenny King, you might write a note to your quarterback. Please do not throw me that pass again.
Oh, my. Final seconds tick away, and that is the end of the third quarter here at the Astrodome, where the score, the Los Angeles Raiders 13, the Houston Oilers 7. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Let's all be there this fall when Hunter crashes into Fridays.
Works for me.
Sergeant Hunter always plays by the rules.
You have the right to remain silent.
But his new partner has her own way of doing things.
A water pistol?
Just hand me something to put on.
Hunter, Fridays this fall on NBC.
All that you can give, and in return for all you're giving, let me give you all of me. Oh, feel your body and soul, every kind of love.
Dixie, good. When Dixie does a sale like you hope they would. Good things to eat, good things to cook. When Dixie.
During our Crazy 8 sale, Hickory Sweet Bacon is a super bonus special for 88 cents. With a fill certificate, Super Brand large eggs are a crazy 18 cents. 18 cents is Winn-Dixie's super bonus price on Star-Kissed Chunk Light Tuna. And Reynolds aluminum foil is 8 cents with a fill certificate.
Winn-Dixie!
Get your Dave Marsh Hurricane Map free at all Eckerd stores.
With Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg, welcome to the start of the fourth quarter here at the Astrodome in Houston. You see Jim Romano, number 52. He'll be over the ball on the snap. Todd Christensen was the snapper last year, and then Dalby today, and now Romano. So they're down to their third man.
Well, actually, Romano is the guy that will do the long snap. Dalby the short snap. But Dalby's been injured, and they don't want to get Christensen hurt. So he's going to be the man of the hour, playing a lot this half.
Raymond Guy to punt. Carl Roach is back at the Houston 12. Wobbly boot. Fair catch. Roaches at the 14-yard line. A 42-yard punt. Even when Guy doesn't hit it cleanly, he gets a very respectable kick, 42 yards.
See Guy coming to the sideline, shaking his head. His average for the day, exceptional, a 57-yarder. There's Romano. Dalby has an injury, a groin injury, and you saw him earlier. It kept him on the sideline during most of the preseason. Very little playing time. I'm sure that hurts his endurance, but he is in pain today. That means that we're going to see a change in that offensive lineup when the Raiders go back on the field.
Trailing 13-7, the Oilers start from their 15-yard line. Earl Campbell closing in on another 100-yard rushing day. The lone setback. Doesn't work because in the backfield is Sean Jones, the number 2 draft pick of the Raiders this year, 6'7" and 280 pounds from northeastern of Boston.
Jones in there for Lyle Alzado and Piquel, and on the nose tackle for Reggie Kinlaw. I wonder if perhaps we aren't seeing a result of quite a bit of humidity here.
This is going to be a reverse.
There's the reverse coming right there, and Earl Campbell simply did not have time to hand it off, as Sean Jones just streaked inside and stripped Campbell to the ground.
Derek Mullins, the wide receiver, was angling back to take the handoff, but Campbell was already on the ground. 2nd and 15. Incomplete. That was Mullins down the near sidelines. 3rd and 15. Suddenly, the Oilers are having great difficulty in even buying a first down. The Raiders have been living on excellent field position this entire second half.
Talked to Tom Flores about the fire in Moon's eyes. Right there, Moon was angry at himself. Even though he was under pressure from number 75, Howie Long, he felt he should have completed that pass. At the end of that play, clapped himself on the helmet, and he said, I should have had that one.
Out of the shotgun, the Oilers are 3 for 11 on 3rd downs. Tipped. And Otis McKinney diving for a possible interception. interception. Tim Smith, the intended receiver. And once again, the Oilers don't own the football long and will have to kick it away in difficult field position.
Just kind of sense that all of the emotional energy has run out through the engine, and there's not much left. But the one thing for sure, the Houston Oilers have played extremely well in this game against the world champions. And they can hold their heads up. One of the things that Hugh Campbell was extremely worried about, he said, the one thing I don't want to see, aside from injuries, is my team embarrassed out here today.
Well, they've not been embarrassed. James kick to Pruitt at the 45, and he gets 9 more yards. He has been a solid contributor. He has 66 yards in punt returns this afternoon, the longest being 34. 35-yard punt, 9-yard return, and the Raiders are at the Houston 35-yard line.
Yeah, when your offense can't move, your punter gets it up in the air. But the Raiders again start with great field position.
13:49 left.
Jackie Stewart, consultant to Ford Motor Company.
I think the Ford Tempo looks perfectly at home in Europe. In the European tradition, it's compact outside, yet comfortable inside, as my family would agree. Its lines reflect advanced aerodynamics, its handling is tight and controlled. Tempo reflects Ford's worldwide design expertise.
Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Strike 2. Hey, 4 runs down. You want to concede the Michelob Light?
You've done it now.
But a bunch of guys really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, it is Michelob Light, and that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Hey, how'd you guys do it?
Just concentrated on fundamentals. The Michelob Light and who's buying. Michelob Light!
Mickey Marvin, 65, 2 times in the Super Bowl as a champion, but not a starter today.
You know, he really took that well. He said, my job is to help the team any way I can, and it obviously hurts him. He's got a lot of pride, but he exemplifies the Raiders' spirit. Believe me, it was not easy for the Raiders to take him out of the lineup.
Don Mospar replacing him, second-year man from USC. Marcus Allen tackled forward, and good yardage. Robert Brazile hit him from behind, and Allen is down close to the 30-yard line. A gain of 5+.
There's always been a reluctance to change rapidly by this Raider team, and the move to put Don Mospar into that lineup was not entirely well received, certainly by Al Davis and by some of the other coaches, but they feel that he is so powerful they had to get him in there. Look at that comparison now on the rushes by Allen and Campbell. The one thing that doesn't show the receiving yardage.
Allen, first down, or close to it, as he's down to the 26-yard line, maybe a little bit short at that, as Jesse Baker got him from behind.
Not all the Raiders in uniform today. This man, placed on IR with an injured foot, spent some time here in Houston. That's Dave Casper. That's the injured part of his body. They're dressed up in a cowboy boot here today in honor of his return to Houston.
Former Notre Dame All-American. From the Raiders to Houston to Minnesota, now back to the Raiders. Oh, there's Marcus throwing again for Todd Christensen. That'll be interference. I think everyone in the place could have called that one, as Keith Bostock did not know where the ball was and had to gamble, took his shot at Christensen, and the yellow flags are flying.
Well, that's a flag max. He drew 3 flags for that one, Dick, and they were all in a tight little circle down there.
Actually, the coverage by Bostock wasn't that bad, but he just had lost the ball.
That's a play that's so totally out of context that it throws the timing of the defense off. An 18-yard pickup, but the key to that, of course, the versatility again of a Marcus Allen, who can hurt you in so many ways. That's one guy on the field, but when he is out there, you've got to respect his running, you've got to respect his receiving, and you must respect his ability to throw the football.
First and goal from the 9-yard line. Hawkins and Allen behind. Whoops, that should be motion. flag is down. You saw Marcus Allen, and it's Hawkins' turn to say something, and Allen missed the count and took a false step forward and will cost 5.
Let's go back and look at that unusual play. Marcus taking the sweep to his left. Now, the thing that makes this unusual is the fact that it's thrown back against the grain. And look again at the tight spiral on that ball. Beautifully thrown. And you see the contact there. Bostic obviously sensing he could not stop the pass, hitting him before the ball arrived. He's a great passer. Hey, can you imagine him as a triple threat quarterback?
He would have been the old single wing series.
Oh, yeah,
he would have been something.
The old wing back.
Second and goal. Marcus Allen. He's inside the 5 to the 4-yard line, right up the middle with Allen. 10 yards as he got the 5 that cost him on the illegal motion, and 5 more. It'll be second and goal at the 4-yard line. 77 yards now total for Marcus Allen.
I should have said tailback. I don't want all those single wing fans out there. I knew I'd said the wrong thing, but Marcus would have made a great tailback.
Indeed he would.
I don't know that we're going to have any NFL teams going to the single wing, however.
Pittsburgh Steelers were the last to use that offense. Allen again, testing the center of the line, trying to steal the ball. The Oilers unsuccessfully, as Allen is stopped about a yard short of a touchdown. It is 13-7. Raiders leading the Oilers. The Oilers had the advantage at the intermission 7-0 on a Warren Moon to Mike Holston pass, but this second half has been totally dominated by the Raiders.
You see the tape and the blood, that coloration on the tape. Marcus cut him was cut on the forehead earlier and is obviously bleeding now. The tape to try and close that off, but this is a familiar pattern. The hammering and hammering and hammering by the physically dominant not Oakland anymore, Los Angeles Raiders, and it pays off in the second half of the ball games.
At the 1-yard line, third and goal. Plunkett can run it in. Jim Plunkett did not have to throw. There just wasn't anyone in that area, and he quickly moves into the end zone. Of course, Plunkett early in his career and also at Stanford, an outstanding rushing quarterback.
Oh, look at that smile. Look at that smile. That's interesting. That's interesting. I think the quarterback role is the toughest short yardage play in football. And anytime the quarterback comes out there, you've got to respect his ability to pass. Look, he ran right over the defensive back. All right, Jim, hey.
So that's 3 1-yard touchdowns for the Raiders today. Allen, Hawkins, and now Plunkett. And now the snap missed by Barr, and the emergency play into the end zone and intercepted by Bo Eason. So the Raiders have not been able to execute the extra point well. They've made only 1 of 3, and the score is 19-7.
Now, this is the kind of thing you rehearse often in practice. People know what they're supposed to do. You see Mark Wilson going out for a pass there. Others will be blocking. But it just doesn't quite work as it did on paper.
There's Marcus Allen when we need him. 19-7 the score.
Any house paint will cover paint, but it takes good surface preparation and a good paint to really stick to paint. Olympic Overcoat house paint is specially formulated to bond to paint and protect against peeling. So in this tape test, while some paints stick to the tape, Overcoat sticks to the paint. Stick with Overcoat. We have the inside on outside protection. Olympic.
Ford Escort. Just 3 years ago, we introduced it as the car engineered to take on the world. And has it ever? Our little engineering marvel far outsold every import car line in America its first year. Ditto the second year. And in its third year, Escort went on to become the best-selling car in the world, making Ford Escort a world leader at the very tender age of 3. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Bill Cosby's back as a loving family man, struggling with a house full of kids.
I just hope they get out of the house before we die.
The Cosby Show, due this fall on NBC.
Only 5 plays to go the short distance, 36 yards. Plunkett a 1-yard roll. No extra point, bad snap. It's 19-7 Raiders as Barr will kick it off. Roaches and Brown deep. Right down the middle it goes to Brown at the 3. No, it is not Brown. Patrick Allen gets a turn, and he's out across the 25-yard line to the 26. Patrick Allen, a 4th-round draft pick from Utah State on the return.
All right, an Aggie in there. Jim Plunkett on the sideline watching that last play, looking at a new quarterback on the field, Chris Barr. You say, hey, I got enough competition at quarterback already. Oh, well, Chris wasn't able to do too well. And, of course, one of the reasons for that problem, Dave Dalby, usually the center on those plays, with the injury, not in there to snap the ball.
And Romano's snap was high, but the Raiders, Super Bowl champs, have now extended their lead.
Mustang GT. Hard right. Bigger front stabilizer bars flatten the curve. Quick left. Rear quadra-shock suspension holds the line. New control in a car called Mustang GT. Want more? Take the uninhibited Mustang convertible. Or the sophisticated technology of Mustang SVO. Decisions. Have you driven the best built American cars?
Today's cars do things yesterday's cars didn't.
Please fasten seatbelt.
Their smaller, higher revving engines can break down an oil's viscosity within 1,500 miles. The tests show Castrol suffers no significant breakdown of viscosity even after 5,000 miles. So listen to your car.
Exceeding recommended RPM.
It may be telling you something. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
Well, there's somebody special on the sidelines for the Los Angeles Raiders, Marcus Allen. 19-7 the score, and the Oilers with 10:44 for such a low-scoring game, a very long game in terms of consumption of time. Willie Joyner in the ball game for the first time at running back behind Moon. Look at the Raiders, they're coming with all their guns, and there's the fumble. Who's got it? The Oilers recovered. Joyner able to fall on the loose ball.
Feeling the pressure, and Bruce Matthews, the center, has not been a center very long. I think sensing the blitz and maybe trying to get that ball back a little too quickly upset the tempo. Perhaps Moon, anticipating the blitz, wanted to get out there. It's a tough job. It's tough to move from guard to center. That's not an easy thing to do.
Hugh Campbell, his team has just not been able to move the football here in the second half. We welcome those of you who have seen the New York Jets spoil the debut of the Colts in Indianapolis, 23-14 that final. Here it's 19-7, the Raiders leading the Houston Oilers. Willie Joyner. And the rookie back from Maryland is out to the 27-yard line. Bring up about 3rd down and 8. The key to this second half. The scoring drives of the Raiders. Look at the field position they've had. Only 28 yards to score to make it 7-6. 47 yards to go ahead 13-7. And finally a 36-yard drive to lead 19-7. They missed a couple of extra points, but the Oilers have been pinned deep, and the Raiders have gotten excellent field position on every possession.
Well, and the shift in the momentum after the halftime, really significant on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Out of the shotgun, Moon. For Holston, and a fine defensive play by Lester Hayes. He made it very difficult for Holston, and Hayes grabbing at that left ankle.
I think he's just tired. It is humid. Even though we're indoors, it is extremely humid and quite hot. Actually, we're fortunate it was much hotter yesterday, and they have selected to go head-to-head with Hayes. They've left Mike Haynes alone. They have tested Hayes. He has been able to come up with big plays, but has been, well, it's been touch and go. You know, he has often left enough room for a ball to drop in there. They haven't caught many on him during the day, however.
John James, who has become the second punter in NFL history to kick more than 1,000 times in that role. And fumble by Cook. And who has it? The Raiders able to fall on it as James Danger 3 scoring drives, all from inside the 50-yard line, and lead 19-7. Lyle Alzado, Yankton graduate, Brooklyn, New York. Once got in the ring with Muhammad Ali. Not afraid to take his licks nor deliver them.
No, he's not. And he's certainly played with emotion in this game. But Earl Leggett, defensive line coach, has chosen to spend a lot of time with his younger players in this ball game. And again, attesting to the length of this game and the emotional level of this game. Both teams feeling the effects of that. The younger team, the shallower team, feeling a great deal more pressure in the way of that.
Rookie Sean Jones and the Raiders really like this young man, another of the big, young, fast defensive linemen on the Raider roster. They are very deep. Just under 9 minutes left, 19-7 the score. Plunkett dumping it off to Marcus Allen, and he's tackled at the 26-yard line. Brian Socha, 72, trying to steal the ball, but the whistle had sounded.
Number 72, Don Mosbar, out there to try and convoy and do some blocking for Allen.
Come on out!
Brings up second down for the Raiders at the 26-yard line as they got back the 5 yards that they had just been penalized. Now that gives you an idea of what's happened in the game. Oilers outgained the Raiders 20 yards in the first half, but it's 46 yards total offense in the second half. Raider defense has been outstanding. Out of the backfield, Marcus Allen knocked out of bounds at the 42 with a first down. And Allen, who is such a major contributor to this offense, running the football, a great pass receiver. He's throwing the ball very well today. Picked up a key penalty on an interference, and a touchdown was dropped by Dokie Williams that Allen had fired perfectly into the end zone.
Just a little fly pattern to the outside. Allen swinging out, and this is where he's so dangerous. One-on-one on the linebacker, and that's John Grimsley. And Grimsley doing a marvelous job of one-handing Allen. Gets a hold of that jersey. Otherwise, he'd had a much bigger game.
5 catches for Allen today for 38 yards plus 80 yards rushing. Frank Hawkins, he has a touchdown today. He's into Oiler territory and a first down at the 47. Darrell Meadows, a rookie from Toledo last year, a special teams player, made the tackle.
Hugh Campbell's observation before the game. The strength of an offense is directly equated to the number of offensive weapons they have. And certainly in the case of the Raiders, that's a formidable arsenal. From Plunkett to Marcus to King and Hawkins and that big offensive line and Branch and Barnwell and Todd Christensen. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And what do you choose to defend against? You do one thing, they do something else.
First down, Raiders trying to add to their 19-7 lead. Plunkett going deep. And incomplete for Dokie Walker. And Merlin, the depth. How many teams could boast? Now, these are the non-starters in the offensive line. Jim Romano, Kurt Marsh, Mickey Marvin, a starter in the Super Bowl, Shelby Jordan. I mean, you could build a pretty good club around that offensive line.
You certainly could. And you also saw a little bit of a little flash of the kind of speed that they could send off the bench as Dokie Williams goes into the game, and zip, he's open downfield. They didn't get it to him, but that's several times today that he's been several yards out in front of people and has had a chance to take one in for a touchdown.
The ex-Stanford star, Heisman winner, most valuable player in the Super Bowl. 15, Jim Plunkett. They anticipate a blitz. They don't get it. Plunkett gets nailed by Jesse Baker at the 48-yard line. Baker's second sack today. Well, the Oilers fooled the Raiders as Plunkett thought the blitz was coming.
Well, that's one thing you can do out of this very aggressive defensive set is you can fake an offense. You can sucker them into believing you're coming. You get everybody up there, you get them dancing up there, and then drop them off into coverage. And they did a good job. This is the defensive scheme that they used in Atlanta. And in 1977, when Jerry Glanville went there, they became the #1 team on defense in the NFL that season. And he feels that talent here is comparable to the people he had there.
6:40 left in the game. 19-7. This is a third down call. 3rd and 15. Up on top to Williams. And he's to the 5-yard line. Dokie Williams as he beats Willie Tullis.
And you see Dokie saying, hey, grab me before he caught the ball. Indeed, if he had not caught the football, I think we'd have seen the flag on that one. You'll have a chance to see that for yourself. One-on-one on Willie Tullis. The Oilers trying to go head-to-head, much as the Raiders do on defense. And there you see 2 bumps. Should have had an official's call on that, even though he caught the pass.
Dokie Williams at UCLA. He was better known for his track exploits, a 9.4 sprinter, nearly a 26-foot long jumper, over 55 feet in the triple jump. He's used sparingly by Terry Donahue as a senior. He caught only 8 balls, 4 of those for touchdowns, and the Raiders picked him off in the 5th round, and he like a second coming of Cliff Branch. Marcus Allen buying a yard or 2 as the Raiders just a few yards away from sewing up their initial game as defenders of that Super Bowl title.
This would indeed be the longest drive of the day for either team. You talked about the short drives for the Raiders. The Oilers' scoring drive was only 32 yards in the first half, so this would be the first legitimate long scoring drive of the afternoon.
The Oilers score after a fumble recovery at the 32 by Brazil, and then Moon threw 10 yards to Mike Holston for Houston's only score. 2nd and goal. Plunkett. Oh, is he thrown down by Mike Stensrud? Boy, that was the body slam, and Plunkett lucky to get up in one piece.
It's nice to see players like Stensrud, who had trouble holding his weight down, I think really motivated by Hugh Campbell and this new staff. He's got his weight down about to 280, which is small for him, and is playing excellent football.
Yeah, when he was over 300 pounds, they nicknamed him number 67 Crosstown Bus. Get the 67.
Mongo. Well, that's got to play you remember from a game like this.
Quite an interesting guy. Collects old cash registers and says he has over 350 straight edge razors. Another, I'm just a collector. And he likes those sacks as well.
Yeah, collected a quarterback on that one. He'd like a few more.
3rd and goal. Plunkett, Christensen. And it's interesting how many times today, for those who have joined us late, that must be 4 or 5 times, Christensen has had one go just off his fingertips.
Well, and I think that's something you'll see less and less of as the weeks go on. Good chance for you to watch at close range as Christensen will have that ball right there. And again, I have to wonder at the timing between the two of them, and that's what suffers most. You know, if you're a defensive lineman, an offensive lineman, you come back, you work on your own skills. But if you're a pass receiver, it's hard to work on the receiving because you don't have that quarterback there with you to throw you the football.
28-yard try by Chris Barr. If he kicks it, that will give the Raiders more than a 2-touchdown lead, and they've got it. He had missed from 40 yards. He had hit the upright with an extra point try and miss, and then a bad snap accounting for the other failure. But now the Raiders have a 15-point lead, 22-7, and time running out in Houston.
Sure, it's a lot of bouncing around, but it did put 2 great kids through college.
This isn't just a job. This is a chance to make a difference.
Coors to you. You've earned it, and this day too. You've earned it. Rocky Mountain Gold and Silver.
Labor Day 1984. And to the working people of America from the working people at Coors and Coors Light. Nice work.
The best of the country is you.
Chris, the older of the Barr boys from Penn State. Younger sister, an outstanding athlete as well, a gymnast with the Nittany Lions. He has to feel better.
And he's smiling now. He won't go to sleep tonight thinking it was my fault.
And for a while, the missed extra point that made it 7-6 appeared to be a very big play. Back comes Patrick Allen. Good coverage by the Raiders as Allen cannot make it to the 20-yard line. Warren Moon and the Houston offense on the field, and Moon is felt those uprights at his back all day long. You see some of the Houstonians are going home for dinner early. 22-7. So let's give you folks at home a chance to play a little NFL trivia. Who holds the career scoring marks for the Oilers and the Raiders? Think about it. They're both 25 years old. This is the anniversary year. Who's the leading scorer for these two teams in their history? I can give you
a quiet.
It's not Sam Leader.
A quiet hint. 25 is an important number in the answer as well.
Oh, see, now you're almost giving it away.
Oh no, I haven't.
Warren Moon like to get something going here. Oh, look who's almost invited to the party. Lester Hayes looking for a touchdown. He had read it well, and geez, hands, how can you deceive me? Of course, he's a Houston native and would love very much to do something special here in the Dome today.
Lester's feeling a lot better. Strutting a little bit. Would love to have had a little stickum. He's had trouble hanging onto the football, and I wonder how much of confidence is in the mind. You know, Lester's an incredible athlete, but when he had the stickum on his hands, he could catch just about everything. They took it away from him. He's had trouble hanging on to some of those passes he should have caught.
2nd down and 10 for Moon. Dressel in motion. Moon showing his strength to stay on his feet. And then he throws it incomplete. A flag down. They're going to call him for intentionally grounding the ball, or maybe a penalty against the Raiders for a late hit.
We've got a Raider on the field, Dick.
93, Greg Townsend, the defensive end from Texas Christian University, second-year man.
Official right on top of that play, feeling that Moon had deliberately grounded that ball to avoid the sack, and indeed he did. He just didn't do a good enough job of acting, and that, again, going back to something that Hugh Campbell said and asking him what's the worst thing that can happen to you today, he said, we don't want the injuries. And of course, there's an injury that would certainly hurt this defense for the Raiders.
You saw Heberling, the referee, indicate with that last signal also loss of down. It's 22-7 here. Now to New York.
All right, Dick, let's shift gears here and check pennant race baseball scores. The Mets beat San Diego in 12 at Shea Stadium 3-2. George Foster the winning hit. Keith Hernandez a home run. Meanwhile, Chicago with Leon Durham homering beat Atlanta 4-2. The Cubs stay 5 in front of the Mets. There's a race in the American League West. The Yankees, in a brawl-punctuated game, beat California 5-3. The Angels remain a game and a half back of Minnesota. The Twins have now lost 9 of 11. Doyle Alexander threw a 2-hitter at them today, 6-0 Toronto. Kansas City, meanwhile, beats the slumping White Sox in 10 at Comiskey 6-4. The Royals are just a game behind. Let's go back to Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen.
So the baseball pennant race still very hot here in early September. Greg Townsend is okay. I think he was involved in that collision with Moon. Surprisingly, Moon stayed on his feet, and then rolling out and picked up the penalty for grounding the ball and loss of down. So the Oilers inside the 5-yard line, and Moon in his own end zone in the shotgun.
He's been looking at that big expanse of green all afternoon.
Second half statistics are really negative for the Oilers. He drills that one to Tim Smith, who caught 83 last year, and another penalty. Flag is down.
If that penalty is called in the end zone, well, let's give the officials a chance to.
Well, you're about to say if it's against the Oilers in the end zone for holding, that's a safety.
That's right, and that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
Safety, 2 more points for the Raiders, and the Oilers will have to kick it from the 20-yard line.
The penalty for being caught holding in this case. Quick glance at it as you look at Bruce Matthews right in the middle of your screen there, out on the outside. You're coming in from the inside now. Well, official right there, yes, looking right at Bruce Matthews, and through the, that's Wells, who was dusted earlier in this ball game. He's still hanging in there.
David Carter, 58, was also in on the pinch of the Raider defender. 24-7 the score now reads. So that kind of cleans up the score, doesn't it, after those two missed extra points.
Yes. Yeah, that's a score we've seen many times, but not arrived at by the ordinary 3 touchdowns and a field goal.
The Oilers had the second fewest penalties called against them in the American Conference last year, only 84. Of course, Miami perennially the leader in that regard, but not today. 10 penalties, 120 yards, a safety. Reflects the youth of this Houston team, but there's some good things too, and Hugh Campbell will emphasize those. But the second half, it's been a shutdown operation by the Raider defense. They came in and bought the lot and the house and the barn, the whole works. Campbell has not been able to see any offense generated.
That's a turnaround. In the last 2 weeks, their opponents had come from behind in preseason to win.
James with the free kick from the 20. Clee Montgomery and Greg Pruitt are back at the 30. Clee Montgomery at the Raider 26, the 35, 45, and the younger brother of Wilbert Montgomery, who certainly has contributed to a lot of outstanding seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles, is in Oiler territory at the 49. Well, we've had a chance to think about the question. Individual scoring leader, all-time Oilers and the Raiders. Well, by George, we have the answer.
Oh, you looked it up.
And there he is, George Blanda. For both teams with the Oilers, 596 and 863 points with the Raiders. The Hall of Famer, George Blanda, quarterback and kicker. How many times did he rally, especially the Raiders, in the late going?
Ooh, ball on the ground.
Hawkins picks it up. And in fact, just to carry that farther back, I think you were hitting the 25 because 25 years ago, Blanda, in the very first game played, these two teams in the opener, was Blanda quarterbacking the Oilers.
And I believe he played 25 seasons, Dick. So that number 25 playing into that in 2 different cases. You look at that jaw and that rugged face, and certainly he left a lot of pleasant memories for fans here in Houston as well as in Oakland.
Because of the length of the game, our schedule tonight will be running a little late, but we hope you'll stay tuned. Special edition, Lee Iacocca. What a story. What a marvelous executive piece of drama that has been, and what he's done for Chrysler Corporation. Tom Brokaw with that special edition. Then Knight Rider and the Streets. New series, Jerry Orbach and Michael Beck as New York undercover policemen in the streets tonight on NBC.
Dick, observing the Los Angeles Raiders in the preseason, it's very apparent that they felt that they were just going to be able to get through that preseason, and then when it came to the regular season, they'd turn it on. Well, not quite true. It took them a full half to get to the switch, but here in the second half, they have indeed turned it on.
And it was the defense that hammered that switch open and made things more pleasant for Plunkett and company. Good job! Joe McCall, who has just carried for the first time in the NFL, and now the rookie from Pitt, unable to grab his first reception. He was went to high school in Miami, nicknamed Do-It-All McCall for his versatility.
Raiders getting a few of those young players into the game. Again, the length of this game, the humidity here in the Astrodome, taking its weight on them. There are the numbers.
Yeah, the moon set at halftime in Houston.
Now, those are the second half. I was going to say they can't be the game numbers because Plunkett's numbers for the first half very embarrassing. But certainly in the second half, he's paid big dividends.
Now, Moon knows he's just tried to pass against the best, perhaps, secondary in football, and that defensive line made things rather unpleasant, too, in the second half. Raymond Guy aiming one deep to Roaches and into the end zone on the touchback, and it comes with 1:57 remaining in the game, so there is the 2-minute warning. 52 yards on the kick, but only 32 net. Again this year, we're going to be treated to some of the most exciting finales from NFL history. They're called fantastic finishes. Here's one.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes, 1983. In Miami's Orange Bowl against the Dolphins, the Cinderella Seahawks are fighting for a place in the AFC Championship. David Craig completes a desperate 40-yard bomb to Steve Largent. Moments later, on a power sweep right, Kurt Warner turns on the speed and dances to a sweet one-touchdown victory. What a season for the Seahawks and the rookie from Penn State.
Somebody's going to keep it steady. Can you guess which beer or soft drink these guests are enjoying in unlabeled aluminum cans? Budweiser? Stroh's? On the front nine. Miller? Coors? Could they be drinking Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, Dr. Pepper, 7-Up? Well, the answer is any of them. Because today, recyclable aluminum cans seem to be everywhere, and they're always in good taste.
As we wind it down here in the Astrodome, the Super Bowl champion Raiders in front 24-7. We want to remind you that Super Sunday special on Lee Iacocca will be joined in progress with Knight Rider at its usual time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And of course, those of you Rocky Mountain and Western time zones will see the Sunday evening programming at its usual time. Final chance for Warren Moon and the Oilers from the 20-yard line. Moon, no offense in the second half. He's able to drill that one to his tight end, Chris Dressel, the H-back. A gain of about 10, and that almost equals his total offense of this half. Well, let's go back. We said at the start, Merlin, the Raiders, Super Bowl champions, the team to beat again this year. What's your feelings now after game one?
Well, they certainly haven't been world beaters in this game, but they didn't have to be. And they started slowly, but in the second half, they've shown us the same kind of dominant forces that they were able to get through the season with last year. I haven't seen anything today to convince me that they'll be anything other than champions this year.
Yeah, the mark of a good team to win on a so-so day. This wasn't the best of the Raiders, but they still are going to win it convincingly. Moon in trouble again, and the play whistle dead. The sack will go to young Bill Pickel, the 260-pounder out of Rutgers. And for the Oilers, young, enthusiastic. They played with emotion the first half. A new quarterback, a new coach.
Well, we made it a David and Goliath story, and David didn't win the battle today, but I think made some believers. It's not going to be a turnaround that will take place in a week. But Coach Campbell, his staff, and a group of very young players, we said it earlier, they've got 33 guys with 3 years or less in the NFL. They have impressed me with their enthusiasm, their energy, and their talent. I think they're going to be a force in the future.
Second down for Moon. Down the middle and complete. Tim Smith, who knows how to get open, and that'll be a first down out at the 43 and time called, a 20-yard gain. Today's game has been brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. And by Federal Express Zap Mail, an exact copy delivered door to door in just 2 hours. 1 minute, 12 seconds left here in Houston. Let's check on things in New York.
All right, Dick, repeating a couple of contract-related stories from earlier in the day. Kellen Winslow, the all-pro tight end of the Chargers, played for San Diego in their win over the Vikings this afternoon, but he's embroiled in a contract dispute with Charger management. He says unless things are settled, he's retiring effective tomorrow. The Bengals' #1 draft choice, linebacker Ricky Hundley out of Arizona, the 7th pick overall in the draft, cannot work out a contract deal with their front office, and Hundley says he now fully intends to sit out the season. His USFL rights are owned by the Arizona Wranglers. He's represented by the notoriously tough negotiator, Howard Slusher. Here are the tough Mr. Enberg and Mr. Olson.
But wilting in the late Sunday night of this Labor Day weekend. Thank you, Bob Costas. Great job on NFL 84. Looking forward to your pre-games all season long. First down for the Oilers at their 44. And Moon, Harris by Millen. And they will not call that grounding the ball. There was a white jersey close enough. Let's run down all the scores for you. Kansas City beat Pittsburgh 37-27. New England over Buffalo 21-17. Chicago 34, Tampa 14. Denver won 2017 over Cincinnati. The Jets won at Indianapolis 23-14. Atlanta upset New Orleans 36-28. Miami big at Washington 35-17. Giants edged the Philadelphia Eagles 28-27. Green Bay nipped St. Louis 24-23. The 49ers 30, Detroit 27, and San Diego walloped Minnesota 42-13. Those are all final scores. We're down to 107 left here in the Astrodome. The Raiders leading Houston 24-7. Tim Smith, an intended receiver for Moon.
We talked about a lot of the stories of the day. Certainly this young man, Warren Moon, one of those stories, and I'm not sure that this is the kind of debut he wanted into the NFL, but he certainly has been tested today against an outstanding defense, an outstanding opponent. He's shown us flashes of the kind of quarterbacking that brought so many titles to his Edmonton Eskimo team, and I believe going to be a great quarterback here in the NFL. The same things that made him do his magic for the Eskimos, I think will allow him to pull it off down here, Dick.
Yeah, Joe Theismann made the transition, and it took a while for him, but now one of the true stars in the National Football League. Moon rifling it deep and caught. His first catch today, Mike McCloskey, the tight end from Penn State, at the 5-yard line, and with ease Moon threw that one 60 yards.
Well, that's one you go put down in your scrapbook, but not necessarily the prettiest pass in the world, in a sense that you got 2 receivers on top of each other. Doesn't matter though, it's complete. 3 defenders, 2 receivers, completion, and the Oilers have a chance to put a few points on the board before we wrap this one into history.
46 seconds left. McCloskey with a catch, 51-yard play, and Moon was close to 60 yards away and on the run against his throwing arm. He delivered that pass.
Well, he is strong and fast and a smart quarterback. He's handled himself well with his teammates here. He said, I have to earn their respect. Well, he'll do that over the season, and I think it's going to be a big star in the NFL.
Well, there are a lot of NFL teams that are kicking themselves on this day. 334 picks were made in the 78 draft, and Moon was not one of them.
Well,
he took a chance.
Well, there's a reason for that. He'd signed a contract already, Dick, and they realized that he was gone, but still probably should have taken him to have the rights.
Round,
just to have
late
the
round
rights.
pick.
Yeah.
Well, some of the fans from Edmonton, as you saw, are here to cheer for their former star. A lot of you folks up in Canada watching are rooting for Warren Moon to succeed. He's a fine young man. Over the middle and a touchdown. McCloskey, the man who caught the long pass, gets the score. Yeah, that'll make it a cosmetic touchdown for Moon, and the Oilers said no 2-pointer on this one. Oh, there's a penalty flag. Only kidding, Warren. Up in the CFL, they might have gone for the 2.
You certainly have to. You climb inside of the heads of the coaching staff of these Oilers. The most important thing for them today, realistically, I don't think they expected their team to win. They wanted to win. They had the confidence that there was a chance that they could win. They certainly played that way in the first half. But realistically, they wanted to come out and not embarrass themselves, show the kind of football that will keep them on keel, making progress into the season.
Florian Kemp from the University of Pennsylvania knocks through the extra point to make it 24-14. So Moon, in his first NFL start, unofficially. Ross Schneiderman, our statistician, has him 12 completions in 30 attempts, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Warren Moon. And we really didn't get a chance to appreciate his running talent as well. And I think when the Indianapolis Colts come in here for the game next Sunday, that they might be ready for Moon's versatility, because he's a solid runner as well. Executive producer of NFL Football on NBC is Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer Ted Nathanson. Game today was produced by Larry Cirillo and directed by Ted Nathanson. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Great coverage, starting with NFL 84 right on through this doubleheader day on NBC. Also want to thank Vernon Eschenfelder and Frank Priddy, our player identification experts. Sam Liederkrantz assisting Ross Schneiderman with the statistics.
Kemp's a fine kicker, Dick. You look at this roster and you want to put all the pieces together. Kemp is not a real power kicker in a sense, doesn't kick the ball out of sight, but certainly has been consistent. I think inside the 40, a remarkable record, and he's one of the people that they're counting on this year to maybe win a couple of key ball games for him.
Interesting story. Did not play college football with the Quakers at Penn. He was a soccer star and played 3 years with the Philadelphia Fury in the professional soccer league, the NASL. Finally giving up that career, a family priest advised him, hey, go out and kick the football. I think you can make it in the NFL, which he indeed has accomplished. A little short chip shot, and fielded by Greg Pruitt, and he's down at the 25-yard line with 39 seconds left. Mike Kennedy, just acquired from the Buffalo Bills this past week, made the tackle. So, for whatever reason, this game extremely long in duration. All the other first games tucked away in the scorebook. And some interesting upsets. Well, could it be a new America's team?
We might have to put some white hats on these guys.
Never will happen.
I'm afraid not.
Silver, yes, but the black and silver, that's part of the charisma of this Raider team. And now it'll all be marked after the 30, and it's all academic now. That was the final play of the game. And the Los Angeles Raiders, the Super Bowl champions, open with a 24-14 win. The defense certainly keyed the victory for the Raiders. They just stopped Houston cold in the second half, gave the offense great field position.
And after today, little will be remembered of the first half differences and the second half differences. There's a 1 under the W column for the Raiders and a 1 under the loss column for the Houston Oilers.
Now, Tom Flores, Super Bowl champions, have beaten Hugh Campbell's Oilers 24-14 here at the Astrodome in Houston. Dick Enberg for Merlin Olsen. Stay with us. We'll return in just a moment.
You want to win, you got to practice stopping Sarinsky. Murphy, you're Sarinsky. You dog me, Sarinsky.
You guys getting the hang of this?
Bring out your best. Your best deserves the best. Bud Light. The less filling light beer with a first name and taste.
Sarinsky's got some moves, huh?
Bud Light.
The day's looking new and bright, and you're gonna start it right. Folgers starting to brew, the aroma's calling you. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Folgers is mountain grown. Nowhere else do beans store out this much enticing aroma and flavor.
The best